very worried actually that League was becoming very reliant. Hey, thank you for the resub, Blade. I appreciate it. But yeah, I was. Oops.
For my sub gift.
Oops, I forgot to set the camera back on. But yeah, I was kind of afraid that League was becoming too reliant on Faker, and that I think the community wasn't as accepting of other players' like stories, because Faker already existed and his story is so fantastic. People don't have space for other things. But if Faker is playing, it makes a lot of difference, doesn't it? Okay, we'll go live on TikTok now at the same time. And our first banter comes through. Rumble available is the first thing which comes to my eye. Did he just dab on us? He just dabbed on us. That is sure something. That is sure something. Is it up and available? But going to be taken instead of the Rumble, which has been very important. Not every LPL team plays the Azir. Not all of them do. Other side, Annie Wukong available now. I think that's fine. I mean, like, the Azir is okay into the Annie. But it's still a very strong mid-jungle combo. It's one of the best ones you can have out there right now. We're on 24-14, right? I have actually no idea. We've switched over weeks, so presumably. I'm not sure. Other side, Trundle locked in, which means you maybe want the Ornn. Ornn does quite well. I mean, God, are we going to go through the first rounds without having the Rumble picked? I suppose I don't see the Rumble right now. Renekton's a good pick into the Ambassador. Again, Trundle's fine into the Renekton as well. It does mean you're playing not against a tank, which can be a bit of a problem. Because the Trundle gains his tankiness from you. If you're not tanky, what happens? Oh yeah, XQW, isn't that Little Froggy? Who is the name that translates to Little Green Frog? Is that XQW? Renekton goes in. Yeah, I mean, that is a very strong one-item spiking topside from EDG. And it's not bad from LGD either in terms of the one item. Two items is really where their solo lanes come online. But one item Trundle with the Triforces. Crazy. Yeah, Little Frog is XQW. Cool. Yeah, I thought so. Second round. LGD needs some engage. They have follow-up in the form of Ambassador. And the Pelican set up a little bit, but it's not full engage just yet. So with Alistar, Rel being banned away, two of the bigger options gone. You have, you know, Leona, Rakan, Nautilus, the three ones which I'd say, and the Rakan's gone. So that's Leona, Nautilus left in terms of your engage. I have no idea, as if it's on a new week, whether Nymaera is going to be available. They're hovering it. I'm not sure if it's actually available just yet. I don't know if any... I didn't manage to turn the stream on in time for the pre-show, but I don't know if anyone saw whether it was enabled or anything today. So if they take the Nautilus, okay. So EDG have the engage advantage. They have Annie and they have Nautilus, and then they can follow up with the Wukong. On the other side, LGD, they only really have like a free-firing Ambassador ult. Can LGD be frauds if we never had any real expectations for them? That is so true. Nymaera is still disabled. Thank you so much, Bro-Trinity. So Nymaera is still disabled. For a while, when Mel released, for instance, they showed it as a central ban in the middle of the screen. Leona, the last engage support, highlighted that a little earlier. And I think, okay, we can go with that. You could do... this is not a bad bring your daughter to work day for Azir. You can lock in Sivir. I think Sivir's not bad here. Anything else that's crazy up right now? Well, there's no Varus in terms of lane phase. Yeah, bring your daughter to work day. Sivir here is fine. There's a lot of melees you can try and outpace. You can spell shield the Nautilus hook or the ults. Harder to play into the Annie, but you can also ricochet off her Tibbers in some team fights, which is very funny. ZDZ means that I'm showing off or acting. That's really cool. That's really cool. I actually didn't know that, JXS. Oh, we're still on the same patch. Right, okay. And there's the Kai'Sa last for answer, completing the Kai'Sa Nautilus duo. Kai'Sa, good follow-up onto the... This is not a bad skirmish comp from EDG, you know. The more I think about it, I think the late game 5v5s sometimes have some lacking tank frontline. If it goes hyper late game, LGD massively out damage. But random hook lands, Annie gets a good flash in, Arn gets to reposition freely because multiple people have plasma. Do I remember Peanut on LGD? Oh yes, I do remember Peanut on LGD. That was a playable time. For some reason, TikTok was being restricted in terms of original content. I'm not sure why. We had that on the first stream we ever did. Not sure why that's going to do that. But anyway, TikTok's now been restarted. Might be because it's in the background music. Don't know whether there was a copyright strike or something like that on it. Anyway, just restarted the stream. Hopefully that's going to be fine. My prediction for this game, EDG have looked like the best team within Group Nirvana by far. Do TikTok teams streams get monetized? They can do, yes. If you get gifted stuff, you do get some money through from that, and then also you get what's it called? You can also get followers through it quite easily to get to the point where you get to the creator fund, which is where the actual money comes in from TikTok. Okay, right. Wow, some different music coming in. Sounds like Mass Effect stuff. That's a little bit. Kind of like, yeah, a little bit more disco. Don't know why. Okay, right, onto the rift for our first game of the day. LGD EDG, once upon a time, was a title-bearing matchup. Less so nowadays. Oh, sorry. I did that wrong thing. I shouldn't have done that back. But anyway, let's hear those gyros for our first game of the day. Not too many gyros right now. Sam, if you wouldn't mind just keeping it on the TikToks, it did the thing where it said the, oh, you've been at... What, oh no? At the TikTok. Well, I didn't tell you what was up with it, and you said, oh no. So this is the thing where, like, Sam, I can't be sure that you've heard what I've been saying, Sam. I don't know whether you're picking up what I'm laying down here, because you said, you're not here to listen to my details. I know you're saying the platitudes of, wow, something's happened, but then you're like, oh no, you don't know what could have happened. It could have been the little green frog has appeared on TikTok. Wow, that's cool. But in fact, I was going to say, you know, the whole restricted thing, which you then could have said, oh no, but you didn't actually listen to the whole statement.
You know what? The reason is, Alex, is because I, knowing you, and because of our incredible mental synergy, knew it would be the restricted thing. That was what I was going to say. I'm not even joking, that's what I was going to say. I was like, I have gotten this from the context clues of this scenario. Here we are, ready to go.
Gotta get my coffee because I didn't bring that through.
Oh no, I thought you'd already got it.
No, Sam, I haven't. I left it.
I know, because I even actually told him I was going to get it. I actually even told him that I am, in fact, the worst. It's not good. I have caused a lot of issues here. All I can say is oops. Zenith Blade there at the level 2. Still level 1 here for EDG. Sam causing issues. Oh no, says Trinity. Yeah. Be okay now, bot side again. Kai'Sa Nautilus, no strange duo, of course, but it does feel like at the minute we've seen a lot of work being done by Civers early on to get shoved. Get a lot of value. Shiaow on his own blue buff. Not too much here in the early game outside of that like attempted pressure at the level 2 there from LGD. They got the lane shove, they got a bit of a chunk. Didn't really lead to all that much, and now Palkia hooks a minion because it angered him greatly.
He'll die for its sins of walking towards the enemy next. It does that occasionally.
Yeah,
you know?
Maybe will it die for the sins of forgetting to bring someone their coffee? That would be really bad.
I don't know.
Who would do that?
Who would do that? Remove someone of their ability to function. Crazy.
Blame it on the ADHD.
Okay. So what I was saying, Sam, is I think LGD, they do have very good hyper late game scaling in terms of I think they have a slightly better front line. I think Leona outscales the Nautilus that, and then Trundle can remove the tankiness from EDG's frontline too. And I think that realistically they just have so much late game damage. But will they get there? Climber looking for an early dive.
Are now potentially in danger. Get chomped on. There's a flash for the root. It means nothing. Great dive so far from LGD.
It's only a couple of minions lost under turret. Flash trying to CC under the turret. Can't quite get in there.
Nice idea.
Xavier spell shielding the passive auto, meaning that he doesn't get rooted. Palkia gets the hook though!
Oh, no! That's mental! We'll dive for it, but you'll take the one.
The God of Space claims his own in the bot lane. Xavier ends up cleansing the Ignite and flashing and still dying. I think what he must have flashed in the last frame of the Nautilus hook. Still really greedy there after he'd survived through the spell shield to walk up and not get body blocked by the Leona. Just stand behind your Leona. You had done all the hard work. We're going to have to see a replay of that because the artist formerly known as Shiaow, I think, made a big mistake there after getting the good spell shield.
Yeah, and of course, the slightly sad thing there for EDG is they didn't get on an assist, and that was a little too long afterwards, but still, very valuable nonetheless to get that kill, and a statement made, if nothing else. They didn't get the wave properly shoved, had to take some time off the climber, which is all these things.
Now we get back into the rest of our early game clear. It's not like Climber has lost much farm or anything like that, because Shiaow's not been able to get over to the other side of the river. Shiaow is a player which I massively respect. I think this guy is a very good jungler on his day. And I think that Climber on the other side of it has struggled a lot more when he's been playing in the LPL. Giving Shiaow early time to respond to farming, responding to gank stuff like that is often quite a dangerous thing because he can go and get an extra camp over you and uses that extra camp advantage to do great things, but didn't manage to do it there, so LGD get away with that.
Next flashing into the far bush is under control of a control ward. Find too much there in terms of the angle. Climber back down bot side again. Back towards his Krugs, who was debating it. When he's playing this particular World Championship skin. We get behind Arn and Palkia. This could get a bit interesting to say the least. Hang on. No, I think they are surely... I don't have an idea what's happening. Both junglers around about. This gets interesting. Palkia still having fun with that Hex Flash. Still no idea where Shiaow is. There he is. They've now got an idea. They'll walk up to him. They'll pillar it. Keep that control ward alive.
Good to keep those wards alive if you can, especially when you're trying to play around Trundle's early pathing. He wants people to brazenly walk up and help support him, just like this. Level 6 on the Annie.
Jumping onto the Azir, gets some souls down, flash over from Shiaow. Got the scuttle crab, by the way. Nice work. Fight after, dangerous. Climber flashing on out. Arn hits the W, though. Prey Seeker, successful. YCX trying to find some value. Needs to get something onto the Leona, who tries to Zenith Blade out and can't. Xavier there with a lot of HP and a lot of low health bars. Wishes he had his flash right now. Good spell shield. Can he get the last couple autos down? Not quite in range. Does he have the speed? Lethal tempo about to fall off. Ricochets through the wave. Does he have the mana for it? No, he doesn't.
Even with the Sivir passive giving movement speed towards targets that you've attacked in the last few seconds, can't chase them down, didn't have any boots, and Angel had the tier 1s, which I think is actually the difference there. So it ends up being 2 for 1? Question mark? 2 for... I think it's 2 for 2. God, that was really messy. 2 members of LGD will die because YCX and Climber both went down. On the other side, was it just Palkia? Yeah, it was. So it does end up being 2 for 1 in favor of EDG. And they get the Scuttle Crab, as you mentioned, midway through that play. So EDG getting away with that there.
And I'm not joking, flashes to secure the Scuttle Crab. My go, Shiaow getting crazy value here with his flash.
And we said, look, Shiaow is the kind of guy that will try and get individual jungle advantages and carry with them. And he has potentially got that right here. So Climber died, YCX gets pulled back into the Cyclone. That's the reason why he ended up flashing for that. That Scuttle Crab gives him the level 6 to give him one of the most powerful early ultimates in the game, that Cyclone, and get some good use out of it.
And XQW goes all in on Angel afterwards, and Angel still gets out, which is really sad. So the Emperor's Divide onto one doesn't really lead to all that much. It ends up being a really solid play there from EDG, who got feats of strength after that as well. Now both of our bot laners at 2 and 1. Slight lead to the Sivir, who's also got the Cull in inventory, so still be just fine here for Xavier. But what looked like a really good platform from the Sivir has kind of just crumbled away a little bit here. EDG, nice trade there with the Ruthless Predator and Culling of the Meek.
So we're fairly even as all things are said and done throughout the first few kind of minutes of the game. Both objectives are up. This obviously gives a different kind of flow chart to both the teams now, where you think about, well, okay, how do we position our bot lane on the map is often the biggest one. Do we reset them to top? Do we want to match if the enemy team is resetting top? Do we split instead? Right here, Climber goes over and quickly noms on one grub. Shiaow getting Scuttle Crab on the other one. Again, playing for the individual advantage. Often said by us on stream, the most valuable thing a jungler has is time. The slowest thing you can do in the early game is take an objective. XQW gets traded on by Angel. It's not meant to kill, it's just meant to remove some HP. It means that you can't go elsewhere on the map and defend the map like this.
On the hunt goes Saviour's got a spell shield to work with, will use so, flashes out of the Cyclone. Straight off, cooldown back out alive, but Saviour gets out.
Surprised that LGD left him alone under turret there, though very nearly hit Saviour. Leona could come over the wall here, but I don't think there's that much threat of a fight. They get the flash, they get the ults. I think EDG aren't displeased with what they get there.
Now, having burned Cyclone though, and of course depth charge, I wonder whether they have to give up the second objective here.
Subjugate's up, is used now by Climber.
Trying to jump onto the Trundle, Pillar comes on down, but into the backline, Arm goes with the killer instinct, well done from him. But where does he go now? He's caught in the back of the pit, Solar Flare is cleansed on out. Zahn can now start trading. XQW not the best soldier positioning, not getting that many autos until just now. That left the Leona out to dry. The Boomerang Blade tags on, doesn't quite bring him low. We'll need to back away here and watch out for a Void Seeker.
Now, LGD, thinking that they could play around the Subjugate, thinking, well, okay, the Cyclone, the depth charge is down. They don't have the follow-up damage. It's only the Trundle there. Pops the ultimate early, tries to get tanky, but you're not playing against a Sejuani who's tanky right from the start of the game. You don't get great tank stats through from ulting an armorless Wukong. And EDG managed to isolate him, and then isolate YCX just a little bit after that point, so they end up blowing a summoner there. The dragon isn't taken, but LGD not approaching these fights particularly well. EDG punishing LGD, not really having their follow-up in position.
Yeah, that one could have been better, has to be said. 40 stacks on the cull for the Kai'Sa herself, matching up against the Sivir. Now, G find themselves up about 1,000 gold actually after everything's kind of settling down in the dust. A lot of that will be on farm, that extra kill helping as well, because we'll see the Renekton having a solid early game, slightly leaving the jungle from those kind of farming. But honestly, a lot of it is in this bot side where that extra kill is.
I mean, both AD carries do have a coal stacking in as well. With 2 kill and a 3 kill AD carry, AD carries being ahead of the game means that both of them are going to be harder to kill, which means that the game will become about fed AD carries and how do you deal with them and set them up. I think it's easier for EDG to play around the Kai'Sa for the majority of this game. I think if it gets very late, yes, the Sivir ends up taking over in the way that only really Sivir can, where you start, bouncing Ricochet through the Tibbers of all things as well, if that gets dropped down. EDG have a ton of setup for a Kai'Sa who has 3 kills, going Kraken Slayer, doesn't have the Q upgrade from Kraken Slayer going in towards daggers, but the extended DPS from the Kai'Sa's auto attacks is going to be really, really high with the early attack speed, double dagger, Kraken, which is really different to what we used to see. It used to be all about what's the earliest Q upgrade you could get. We saw, stuff like Duskblade or Ghostblade into, a whole bunch of like AD and flat pen items. Sassy could get dove here. Quite dangerous to dive this though.
Charge, gonna be tried to immune there by the public execution, but he's still just gonna bounce around and goes down. Shiaow picks him up.
Uses the ult to go unstoppable, but can't CC these Nautilus under turret. Palkia, I've been really impressed by this guy. I think he's been playing mechanically very well throughout his games in the LPL as a rookie so far. Is he clearing the wave on the other side?
Does manage to do so, but he's going to get dived regardless. Can he get a heal off? No, he cannot. Nice pickup, but now Angel's waiting. Makes it the 1-for-1.
Angel on the roam will gift something back to EDG. Other side, because the wave wasn't cleared by Sassy, it will be first tower going down to, you guessed it, that fed Kai'Sa. 3-1-1, bunch of gold up, 1,000 gold up on the Sivir, who also was involved in that kill on the other side. Can EDG clear any of the plates through here?
Get some value on down as Angel needs to try and dance around, can't do so. Turret shots beginning to fly on down, but no one's really taken aggro as yet. Shuffle out from under the turret. Palkia trying to get some value. We'll be able to get on out here, but the second shot comes on down. And now, actually, ZDZ's turned up. Can maybe flash on in. Stride Breaker first. Looking to get on the XQW, a much more valuable target. Picks him down. TP's flying on through. Decent damage onto Savior, but the second TP will surely be Sassy coming to get some vengeance on the opposite top lane. A good heal, though. Does buy some time. Slice, dice. And YCX is here. Zenith Blade just wide. ZDZ will clear up the cannon. My go.
He clears the cannon, and EDG, I think they end up being, what, 1 or 2 kills down in that exchange, something like that. Again, it got really messy. But they cleared the wave, which means that LGD can't stick around and take plates from the top side. In fact, plates have just fallen off. EDG took all 5 from bot side, and I think there was only 1 taken by LGD on the top lane turret. It's Scrappy, but I think EDG did have their eyes on the fact that, well, as long as we keep clearing waves and get something out of this, they can't hit the tower.
They can't. All the while, back towards the mid lane we go. As Arn gets jumped on, will cleanse away, throws out the Void Seeker, finding some value. Public execution, flashes away, but it leaves Arn out to dry because it manages to catch on to him. He gets out with the ult, but it's left on about 10 HP.
I have no idea how that hit the Kai'Sa. Flash away from one of the other members of EDG. On, I mean, the thing about the Ambassador ult is that it hits the last person in line. I didn't quite see the positioning there, but on... tagged down by Sassy, but LGD, again, they don't get that much for it. There are some flashy moments there, but they are starting to lose out a lot of value. They're currently, 2,000 gold behind EDG, who, as we said, got the first turret, denied those plates, and the waves going into their own turret to allow those tower pushes. EDG are winning out, even though it doesn't feel like it's that far apart.
XQW now in danger, especially as the Empress Device just come on down. ZDZ gets a Stride Breaker slow. Shiaow donates it with the Cyclone. EDG pick up another kill.
Yeah, we did say it was bring your daughter to work day for Azir and Sivir, but it turns out, I don't know, one of Azir's co-workers has taken issue. What is Renekton? Co-worker? It's not a rival. I think Renekton...
Yeah.
I think Renekton's gone mad. He's not bad.
He was sort of an employee, yeah.
Yeah,
so
okay. Yeah, he's had an HR complaint from Renekton. He's had to go deal with that, sadly.
Angel is now going to get a stun down with a Disintegrate and walk away. Definitely not Tibbers.
Yeah. That's the anniversary chroma, I think it is.
Yeah.
The one with Teemo. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, so Teemo's Tibbers is the anniversary, and they're both dressed as Teemo, which I think is cool. Remember when Teemo was like the icon of League, and they tried to really push him as the the poster child? Yeah. And then after a while it was Lux, and then it came, yeah, I don't know, I guess it became Jinx at some point. Jinx
is a big one, yeah.
Jinx has really done that from, Wild Rift and Arcane. Jinx was really, and of course they did the music video as well.
Ari's probably up there a fair amount. Katarina's been that before.
Yeah, Katarina in the early days,
been to there to be a little bit. Just the iconic champions, I think, really.
Garen was in there too.
That's true.
At the start of things. Those were those are the big ones, I think.
I enjoy the fact that they confirmed Garen and Katarina are dating by the Spirit Blossom universe thing.
Well, okay, well.
I know I'm memeing a bit, but it's just the fact that Cassiopeia says that and her idiotic oath of a spinning husband is just the best line of all time.
I never heard that.
Yeah, it's in the Cassiopeia.
You mean the original Spirit Blossom?
Yeah, the visual novel.
Oh, that's adorable. I never knew that.
Which Cassiopeia's like, oh yeah, my sister and her idiotic oath of a spinning husband. It's like, who could that be?
It is worth noting Spirit Blossom is a different world from from Runeterra. Yeah, although the current event I think that's going on is not. They've gone for a different angle for that. And the Spirit Blossom Spa thing is also not Spirit Blossom. That's in like the pool party universe, which is for some reason another universe.
Yeah, I mean I get it. It's just a universe of pool parties. Sounds pretty great to me.
Fantastic.
Summertime. Let's go.
Push on to the inner turret from EDG. They have a lot more people here than I don't think LGD expected that.
Trying to outplay this. Can maybe look to try and ult over the wall, which is what he was looking for, but it was well read by YCX.
Not sure you should blow the flash there, friend. You're a very important AD carry. Don't lose your flash if you're guaranteed to die there. EDG sent 3 members bot lane and LGD didn't expect it. LGD sent 3 members mid lane and EDG didn't expect it.
Okay, steal away on that Scuttle Crab. Climbing up, potentially in danger. The TPs begin to fly. That charge lands onto Trundle. Climb up, potentially in danger. Gets bounced around. Public execution of the backline. Value coming on down. Sassy low, but ZDZ, much better stuff. The crocodile in the river. It's the natural habitat. Who needs to be an ambush hunter where you can just keep doing lots and lots of damage? Shiaow jumps on the Azir, and the Emperor collapses.
ZDZ's Renekton has been so powerful. We often refer to Renekton as this early game powerhouse, and plays like this at kind of the early mid-game where he's still in his power spike really show you why. Every time Renekton gets an empowered ability, it feels like it is double the power of a regular one. And right here, LGD don't have enough damage to kind of focus down his HP bar. He ends up taking over the back end of the fight. Also worth noting, Shiaow, similar situation. That 1 to 2 item Wukong pops off, just hit 2 items. Wukong is now in absolutely his prime in this game. Go back to a replay of Arn getting caught out, and they did bring out their jungle support over here. The flash solar flare ends up putting Arn into a position where he can't dodge the Zenith Blade. So while the ultimate doesn't hit, it still does its job. Climber was there for support anyway. Both these teams had spent their time kind of sending members into one of their lanes. EDG attacked bot lane, LGD attacked mid lane. Things start to go wrong here, though, for LGD, where, once again, Climber assumes he is more tanky than he is. ZDZ goes into his dominance, gets empowered Q, empowered W to keep stacking up the auto test. A 3-man empowered Q. Yeah, that'll win you a team fight at this point in the game. ZDZ, mad value from Renekton.
And Shiaow at this point with all the soldiers out of position. You know, they finally start attacking Shiaow again at the end. They get a single auto off before a number strike crushing blow brings down the Azir again. Hang on though, we go back towards the bot side. Angel in danger, does get a decent stun off, buys quite a lot of time, forced to flash out of Sassy, and in comes On with the killer instinct.
Teleport, a Kai'Sa ultimate, Atakan spawning in the next few seconds. EDG with 2 kills. Do they think they can start this? I think they can. There are objective bounties already. LGD do have 3 grubs. Hang on a second. I think EDG might have screwed the pooch here a little bit. Yes, a kill or 2 and the Atakan's good, but giving 3 turrets over, including the objective bounty. Oh, they don't get the top lane inner, but giving 2 towers over is a big issue, especially with the objective bounties in there too.
Oh, bloody hell, XQW. You can't miss your Emperor's Divide like that. ZDZ with the dominance rolling. Well, try and buy as much time as I can. They do get the turret, the Healy's coming on through, but it's actually denied quite a lot there. Palkia now in danger, and they lose the Renekton too. That is 3 turrets.
The full trade is 3 turrets, including 2 inners, giving up 2 kills on the bot side, but claiming 1 on the top side. That is 1 for 2 in terms of kills. Atakan to the side of EDG, but 3 turrets and an objective bounty over to LGD. They should not be getting that in any stretch of the imagination. That is a ton of gold back. Arn was crazy amounts of gold ahead. Now basically even. Mid lane, Azir is now ahead of the Annie too. LGD just got themselves a lifeline when EDG were trying to make plays around the bot side of the map, and you can understand why. They thought, you know, they were winning the fights, getting the objective, but objective bounties are a hell of a drug.
Man, I don't even remind it.
Oh, 2 for 2. There was no support. So 2 for 2, even worse then for EDG.
Okay, and you look, there's the gold lead shrinking down. They lose about half of it there. Again, you do get the Atakan. You do get a lot of petals, actually. Oh my god. That is 41 to 6. So that does even things up a little more in the trade there.
Yeah, it collects the ones which are on the ground. So what that means is that if people have not been taking flowers, there are more that will be claimed by the Atakan secure itself. Because I think the game's been so scrappy and quite mobile, people haven't had time to do much about that. ZDZ doesn't have Dominus, doesn't have Hysterics off cooldown. My dude, I think this is risky.
Oh, into 6 grubs. In comes the TP, might turn things around, gets a stun to XQW, force him to shovel away. They'll get the turret. But what about the returning fight after? ZDZ's buying a lot of time, Angel gets a stun. On comes in with the killer instinct. Maybe it was better than we all anticipated because the response time is good. Leona down, has faced the shadowed ground. Savior now in danger himself, has to back away. The Cyclone's rolling. Death charge across multiple members. Savior's trying to buy time, but will not survive the Wukong. And it's a massive play from EDG, and Sassy's just not there.
Shiaow is 7-0-7. While we might have been focused on the Shuriman showdown of Renekton, Azir, and of course the Sivir, this Wukong has been titanic. 7-0-7, 2 items, which is where the Wukong becomes god amongst junglers. And EDG get a huge amount of value out of Shiaow, a player which we've told this story a number of times. Well, why not another time? This guy was hyped coming into the LPL. He had a very poor split on LGD themselves. He went on a massive loss streak with ZDZ as his top laner, where they went something like 0-6, 0-7 in terms of series. They won on that, I believe, their 8th attempt. And he cried on stage because he was carrying all of the games which they couldn't quite win. And he was showing the best side of himself. He finally got that win. You can see how much that meant for him. He's always been a very passionate, very high-level player for the teams that he was on. He was very good for the lower to mid-end teams. And right here, you know, EDG, when they signed him, I thought they were on something good, and I hope they really are now. Shiaow having a magnificent game here, and I hope this continues.
And him and the Renekton have managed to play out the fights, even when they have occasionally lost Arn or Angel early on.
Oh, sorry, it's anyone's legend. Anyone's legend, my bad.
Ah, anyone's legend. There you go. That does make some sense. Still, the story stands true. Just switch out the name just slightly. Back when Anyone's Legend were really struggling to get things pulled together in the grand scheme of things. It's only been this year, really, when Anyone's Legend have found the success they were hunting for over all that time. Yeah, got a lot of work done. Way back in the day. He was even on Rogue Warriors for a little bit.
Yeah, he was really high prospect. And yeah, apologies, it was Anyone's Legend on LGD. So back then, back in 2023, Anyone's Legend LGD, it's just, weirdly, it's because both of them have like a similar shade of red in the logo.
I can see that,
And
yeah.
I often cast LGD in Anyone's Legend because that was my first year in the LPL, so I was kind of given like the lower tier games at first, as you would as newer casters coming into the region. But I was given like the lower tier games, so I was like, okay, and so I cast a lot of both those teams, but obviously that's now like 2-3 years ago, and like literally 1,500 games ago for me now in the LPL. But this guy really caught my eye even back then. He was one of those players I hope will make it through into the upper echelons of the LPL. He did have a shot on Weibo with ZDZ back in spring of 2024. Didn't work out. Tarzan ended up replacing him for summer and took them to Worlds. Took them to Worlds... Was it semi-finals? I think that... Yeah, that year we were semi-finals, yeah. But Shiaow was not a part of that. But you can see how good this guy is in EDG. I think at the start of this year we thought they would do better than they were looking. They've changed out support. Parakeet in for Wink, who started with them. EDG net didn't really get the success they wanted to from splits 1 and 2. But here, it looks like they're on a good hot streak.
Again, we did have to play musical chairs in the off-season again for LPL, but it does feel like, at least on first glance, a lot of teams look happier with the trades they made on the whole. It's not been perfect. I think, you know, you're looking at the likes of BOG. Okay, Shadow's having a good time so far. Looking at EDG. Yes, it's in Nirvana, but looking a lot more alive. And that's a good starting point. Arn's just hit his third item, but so has Savior. Might make things interesting.
Okay, well, 3-item Sivir. In the AD carry we trust. That was a very, yeah, important comment in chat, actually. Why do they force fight so much when they have a mega late game comp? That's a great question. This is something that we called out in draft. This is something that we've said a number of times about LPL teams recently, thinking, well, you know, if they get to late game, it's good. We saw that with Weibo versus Anyone's Legend in one of their games. Of course, they did end up winning that series, fairness. The game that they did lose, they forced with a scaling comp. It's something which the LPL doesn't do that much. LPL doesn't do late game scaling comps that much. They don't chill, wait for the big moments. Pillar, Solar Flare.
On public execution after looking to jump onto Parakeet, gets a decent amount of damage back. Going for the aftershock this game, try and buy a bit more time, and actually does survive a damn long time. In fact, he's just alive. Gets to go to retirement. On comes on with a killer instant, gets a flash, and they do kill the jungler off. You know what's alive when the jungler isn't? Baron.
And that'll be a huge prize for EDG. Parakeet thinking about recalling, getting his HP back, and also welcome in chat to Omar, someone who's helped out some people get some tickets over in LPL China, which is very, very cool. So I have no idea how to do that. Angel getting the stun out of Fog of War, not quite getting the kill, but XQW very low.
He's on top of the Malignance pool, has to slide away with the shifting sands, and the sands of time are trickling away for LGD now. Baron's through, soul point for EDG, and that soul spawning in 2 minutes, conveniently just after the Baron shove.
Side note, Sands of Time, great game. I missed the Prince of Persia series. Isn't there meant to be a remake coming out at some point that's been delayed for forever?
There was a game that came out that was quite good recently.
Oh really? I thought there was meant to be some, like, one of the classic games remake, which has been delayed for forever. However, back to the game. A minute and a half until Dragon. That will overlap with Baron buff. Angel has a Bloodlet as well as the Rylos. He has a bunch of weird tankiness as well in the way that any builds can actually get you quite a lot of HP if you choose to do so. On going towards the Zhonya's on 4th. We don't always see that from the Kaisen now, and that's to catch on to the Trundle, who, as we said before, is not that tanky in this draft.
Ooh, no, he is not, and that is a lot of damn damage. The W comes on through Void Seeker landing. We find ourselves quite happy with EDG in a very strong mid-game play. It does feel like, in general, they have managed to get the better of most players, with the exception of that turret trade that had us raising our eyebrows. For all it earned them like 40-odd petals, but hey, here we are.
There is a Sands of Time remake that's still in the works somewhere. I knew I heard something about
okay,
that.
there you go then.
But it's been delayed so much that I kind of forgotten about it.
Me too.
Yeah, and Angie's a huge fan of Prince of Persia, so we occasionally talk about it.
That's
it's come up in conversation. And tell you what, we had a demo of it for the first PC that went from having.
Splinter Cell, wasn't it?
Alongside the Splinter Cell, yeah, it was really good, including, and also, and there was also a really good demo, which I cannot remember for the life of me. There was a demo of like a real-time strategy game which had 3 different civilizations. One of them used like glass and sand. Another one had like clockwork magic and stuff like that. And I can't remember it for the life of me. It's a really good demo though.
A friend of mine had the full game, so I went around to play at his once. I know the game you're talking about.
That is the kind of game I would go back and play because
yeah.
it's got a weird amount of nostalgia for me. I'm not sure if it's anyone like any particularly good game. Anyway, look, EDG been pushing with the Baron buff. They've taken some towers. There's been no real fights. Dragon's up now. I doubt LGD can do much about it. It is Mountain Soul, by the way, so LGD,
yeah, it's not getting any easier, is it?
So it's not like LGD have contested it. It's gonna go down anyway. There is a ward on it, but I don't think there's that much to do about it.
He's got no flash, so this makes getting into the bit quite tricky, especially if there is no blast cone, and the dragon just goes down.
That's Mountain Soul to EDG, if things weren't bad enough already. LGD behind 11 kills, behind 8,000 gold. And the Mountain Soul, and we've can even mention the Atakan and the Petals as well. EDG put that, why not put that on there for good share as well. Climate doesn't have flash. If he ends up getting hooked, he could be in a bit of trouble here.
Could be. Lead to all that much there. Where was that one? When was that LTS release? I don't know, 2004, 5?
Yeah, early 2000s, I think it was. Well, it might have been before that because, early to mid 2000s, I think, early. But potential fight coming in around the top lane in a turret. Baron buff's now fallen off, so the wave clear is now there for LGD. They do have a 3.5 item Civi. He's gone for armor boots, by the way. He's gone for the Ninja Tabby. Plated steel caps. I'm sorry, showing my, I guess, age, I suppose. Not the hugest Baron buff ever, but it did get them Mountain Soul as well, so add that onto the tallies. EDG pops a Dominus and walks at them menacingly.
DDT slides over the pillar, gets to stay alive for now, and the tier 2 falling in very swift order. Good work there from EDG, who are just continuing to take this opportunity to balloon their lead. It is pretty much insurmountable now. That is near enough a 10,000 gold lead and Mountain Soul. It is tough. And
someone on Onivia's chat is really annoyed that actually the people on the microphones are actually people as well as casters, and because there was nothing happening on screen, we're trying to find something else.
Exactly. How dare we do downtown content?
I would invite you to watch somewhere else, because that is, one, very rude, and obviously not something that the community shares. So, auf Wiedersehen, and EDG will probably be saying auf Wiedersehen to this game soon as well. I mean, do have that Mountain Soul, got a ton of items. They just need to force one more fight. One more fight, and the game goes down, really. I don't see how LGD can... They do have a very strong Civi, but against the Mountain Soul, I think the impact of that is blunted for long enough that EDG will probably just close out the game before the Ricochets can take down the team.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tricky, and it also feels like the Civi is struggling to actually get autos off this game. There are so many people who are diving at it from so many different locations. Like, yes, you've managed to get away from the Nautilus, but what about the Kai'Sa? What about the Wukong? What about the Fed Renekton? It is no easy game state as it stands.
The wave clear from LGD has been fine, though. I think EDG have struggled to open up the base in the way that they wanted to. The Civi and the Azir, tons of wave clear. Tower going up as well from Azir. Again, another sort of pseudo wave clear because, by the way, this is an interesting thing too, which sometimes people forget about. Azir's turret applies his on spell effect as well. So if you have Ludens, Liandries, if you have Bloodletters, it will also, and well, maybe not Bloodletters because that's only a magic damage, but it will proc spell effect. So sometimes you can end up taking a lot of random damage from a turret, whilst it's also doing, regular turret damage, which people just don't expect. It can be, something which slaps you out of nowhere.
Does that realize?
Yes, it does.
There you go.
That's Sam. It's an on-spell effect, so yes.
That's the reason. That should work. Palkia might actually be in danger here. Has got flash. Can't lead to all that much. He's actually gone for the Thorn Mail, by the way, this game.
I mean, he's got a ton of gold. He's been involved with a ton of stuff. Why not? It can help get some of the anti-heal onto the Civi and help stop them from just ricocheting you down, so that you feel a little better at walking at the Civi themselves. EDG, again, their goal is force one fight. LGD are out of their base for the first time in a while. Baron is up. LGD on the other side, look, you have the late game scaling comp. You've reached the late game now with your items, but you're against a Mountain Soul. SQW doesn't feel confident on that amount of HP. He's recalling right now.
Boy, and YCX not having very much fun at all. Gets go down low. XQW also in danger. The public execution onto Arm, but he's got a massive shield to work with. Flashed over the wall, finds Savior. It's a triple to On, who keeps autoing for the Quadra.
Pensa?
Can we find them all? On wants that final Infinity Stone to complete the gauntlet. Climber running away, but I think EDG aren't playing for accolades, aren't playing for awards. They just want the only thing that really matters. The 50 gold from the Nexus.
Climber, does he even recall and get back to the base? He's hiding around in Tribush right now. He's gonna hide out in the enemy jungle to deny the Penta, but he can't defend the base. EDG win game 1.
It's not set or match yet, but it's certainly game. EDG convincing in game 1. Find all they need as the game goes longer.
It was a game where EDG needed to stop the enemy team from getting late game, and indeed they did. Indeed they did. LGD, I think they fought too hard too early, and I think particularly Climber was assuming he was more tanky than he was. He was playing a Trundle not into a tanky team, so he couldn't steal their stats very effectively, and that became a big issue. And thank you so much, Angie, for the 95 stream streak as well. Hope you're doing well today, and I hope everyone else is doing well as well. LGD taking a bit of a knock to their mood today, I'd imagine, with that first game loss. They picked the bring your daughter to work combo as Sivir, and they couldn't make it to late game because they ended up fighting too early.
They really did, and it puts them in a very tricky position. And I think, you look at it and things like, weren't respecting the TPs, weren't respecting the regular Kai'Sa ults from downtown, weren't respecting the Wukong re-engages. It just took them a little bit too long to make plays. Like, cool, we've gone for the turret, we've got the turret and the kill, and now there's a Wukong and a Kai'Sa here. And say, oh, this Renekton's all by himself. No, he's not. He only has to buy 10 seconds, and he's got enough to be able to do that at the moment, especially considering they got far enough ahead to buy that extra bit of time for the collapses to happen.
So we'll do the quick spiel. Thank you, by the way, very kind comment in TikTok chat for normal casting lines. We appreciate them.
Appreciate it.
We understand that, different people want different things from casting, and I know we did call out that one comment saying, oh, stop talking about personal lives, you blah, 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 rude words and whatever. In all caps as well. So I looked up like, my dude, you need to
chill.
You need to just chill a little bit there. But yeah, we try and do our best, given that we're not paid to do this. There is no official broadcast of the LPL anymore, and it is forever a bit of a learning process to figure out what you want as a community from casters like us. This is technically a co-stream, but we do it as more of a professional broadcast. But many people's favorite Aurora, Orianna, Nocturne, Senna, Poppy. That's quite a lot of AoE going in at a long range from EDG. That was what I was thinking. You've got quad melee on the side of LGD, and you do have a couple of dash champions into the Poppy as well. Not all those dashes are like that easy to stop or that important to stop. But stopping the Rel combo is potentially game-changing. I did wonder whether it would be a Braum instead for Palkia instead. Also, Sam, I did make the joke about it. Parakia it's just phonetic Palkia from Pokemon.
Yeah.
And we now have the Giratina Orianna combo in mid jungle.
My days.
So we have that. I was just praying for an Echo or a Resilient. Yeah, we needed the Time Mage for Dialga to somehow figure out the rest of this. Angel going to be having a fine laning phase versus the Galio. The Clock Winder really annoys that champion. Bot lane, Senna, Poppy, pretty decent here as well.
Just a bunch of stone. Your mother was a bunch of concrete.
What?
Clockwork wind-up. Wind-up mode it.
Yeah, you did. You made a joke about that the last time.
I did.
And it just wasn't in my brain enough, so.
Yeah. Maybe it's just not that funny, and I find it more entertaining than it actually is, Alex.
It's funny to, a few people out there, I'm sure.
I don't think you've ever said anything quite so gutting to me. I am heartbroken.
I'm trying to be, I'm trying to be diplomatic.
My heart scratch. He's not open-minded.
Oh, don't you Hongdae guy me. Oh, don't you dare do that. Oh, the leather jacket on the wall calling out to the green goblin.
I have got 2 leather jackets, maybe 3 if you got the suede one.
Oh man, that TikTok trend of that dude, because the guy that does the Hongdae guy meme is doing a parody of and a critique of actual Hongdae guys. He's very well spoken, actually. Interesting bloke. Back to the game. Climber clearing a little faster than Shiaow. One of the reasons why the Viego does occasionally come back in later games of Fearless, stats aren't fantastic. He's very good at farming. He's good at defensively farming too, because he has the W to fly backwards. He can use the E to go invisible and get the movement speed as well. So he's very easy. It's very easy for him to get out of trouble. And then later in the game when he has level 6, you can ult over walls and stuff like that too. And while all that's happening, very good at just safely farming and getting the most out of things. Now, his stats, his damage, and his items aren't the best that they've ever been. I'm not going to say that. There are some reservations. But you can see right here, fast clearing, going towards ZDZ on the top. So I can't really gank that effectively. Viego's level 3, level 4 ganks aren't bad, but they're not going to do that much without extra follow-up.
No, they are not. Climber. Ow. Potentially dangerous position. I should have finished that sentence a little earlier. Like Climber maybe should have left the river a little earlier. Is going to get out there. Takes a bit of damage. The Nocturne should still got to go get that bot side Scuttle Crab. But is not able to fully contest. I think I went for compete and contest and got to compest, which is not. Not a great word, bluntly.
Oh no, you can't. You can't put that food in the bin. It goes on the compestables pile.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, where am I going with this?
Throwback to one of my favorite LPL memes that we ever made, which was "Your bin day is changing."
Right,
we mentioned it on the stream recently, and I was reminded of it. We should make some stuff up like that again. Actually, we should figure that out. But then that also involves me doing, effort to post things on social media.
I know.
I'm trying to limit my Twitter input recently because it's Twitter. Stun onto the Poppy. Puts that steadfast presence up to no crash down afterwards.
Gonna get over towards a few more of these minions. Gonna put this out there. That clockwork wind-up thing, I'm not gonna let it go now, just purely because...
I'm gonna find something worse just to bring it up when you bring that up.
Yeah, that's fine.
I haven't thought of it yet.
Yeah, so, but just a warning.
Give me some time to develop it. Give me like 7 working days, 3 working days. I don't know, like an amount of working days.
An amount of working days.
Yeah, that'll help. Quite early game. Clean feed looks like it's just ended up stopping a little bit. You can tell that it's not us because. Oh, hang on a second. It isn't us. Yeah, the clean feed's just ended up dying, which is always a good sign. We'll see if they'll restart.
Give it a second.
Hello. We'll turn the camera on just so you know it's not. It is not us. Hello, we're still here. It's the clean feed down here, which is a problem. Hopefully it'll restart up again.
Hey!
And there it is. We just like to do that. Don't panic. Back into game we go.
Have a towel with you at all times.
True.
There goes the ward on over.
I think we're getting to the point where less people know about the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy now. I think like it was
true.
It had a big resurgence in the early 2000s,
had the
2010s.
movie.
It had the movie. It's a flash forwards.
Oh, hang on. Arn's gonna have to flash out. Let me turn this one around. Y6 also down the flash in the heel now, and it's got rooted in place. May have been in a slightly awkward position. It doesn't want to work across the feathers though, so it's happy enough with the trade. Arn down the double summoners.
Yeah, the only thing being worse than down all your summoners is Vogon poetry, I think. So Arn, blows both of them. Does have enough HP to farm up the wave, but there was a good punish there from YCX. You want to get as much over this lane early as possible because the more that center is comfortable walking up the double tap with an auto Q or something like that, the more souls you end up getting. And the souls from center are obviously a huge break point. Only has the 10 right now, so not getting huge amounts from the early lane, which you can do against some melee supports. Teleport from YCX, not going to do too much from that. There was no level 6 on Shiaow for that gank in top side.
Yeah, I wondered how close he was, whether there was any camps nearby or anything. Doesn't look like that's realistically going to be the case.
Sam, there's actually a really easy way to see how close he was.
Yeah, the little purple bar underneath. I get
below
you.
the champion portrait.
Hang on. Ooh, fight smite. Oh, nicely done, Climber.
And that means that the little pink, purple bar, magenta bar under the name stays pretty far away from level 6. He still doesn't have... that level 6 with the ultimate. And you can see that Viego does a good job there, going in quickly, getting that steal. And he gets close to level 6 as well. And that will unlock the reset potential, of course, from LGD. One of the bigger things that LGD can do later into the game is just get that first kill, play around the Viego reset. I think particularly when you're a group Nirvana team, and you'll get the level 6 off of the Skull Crab too, unlocking this win potential. It's very easy to say, look, things are getting a bit complicated, let's simplify it, and just get the level 6. I was learning to play chess again recently.
Oh, yeah?
And one of the big things you can do that Shiaow, he is going to hit 6 now. He's had to put himself out of position to do this. One of the things you do is try and simplify. You can fly out.
Can try and jump to the backline. Oh, nearly got the stun on the wall. Does that have a double stun? EDG now in danger. Dawning Shadow could be across. They taunt, though, onto one. His powder cure goes down. They can't quite find the escape out. It ends up being a lot blown there for EDG, and they're losing one.
Great feather pullback from Savior. And the point I was going to make was very relevant to that. Is one of the things which I think really helps lower tier teams is simplifying things. One of the things you do in chess late game is say, well, okay, I can just trade an equal amount of pieces or whatever just to simplify things so I'm already in a winning position. Having that kind of thing to say, look, just cut out the chaff. Let's just play around something like a Viego reset or something like that can be really important. LGD get themselves that first kill on the board. They'll get themselves the dragon. Grubs are spawning now and no one's contesting them just yet. LGD, they're not massively in position to do that. I don't think they'll feel forced to, I suppose. But yeah, EDG need to find a way around those. Angel does have Shockwave coming at Palkia. Has no flash. Can get stunned here. Bob's not quite in range. We'll back off.
Couple hundred gold lead actually still over to EDG. Purely off laning here, actually. It's kind of quite telling. In the jungle, of course, the kill going onto the Viego gives some value. And obviously, burning your early paranoia to no avail does kind of feel kind of sad. Actually, there's no kind of, it just feels sad. Yeah. Let's not qualify that with a sort of gentle statement. No, it's not a good time. And of course, Xavier, the artist formerly known as Shiaow, probably his most iconic champion outside of things like the Draven is the Xayah. I think his win rate on that champion, the play rate is one of the highest he's got going out there. Grubs being fought over.
Teleport behind, smite available for both junglers, but there might be a fight first.
Yeah, ZDZ now in the backside, going to try and go across the veil. We'll see Sassy recalling on in. Grub for grub as it stands, but it will be LGD who claim the second, and therefore the marker towards the feats of strength.
So no mites being taken by either team because you need all three to summon them. Yes, you do. You need all three to summon the mites. Yep. Sassy teleporting back in, threatening that angle. And EDG, credit to them, I've seen plenty of teams stand and fight against that wall, and it doesn't go well for them. If you have, no flash on your center, you can't really get out of an engage if you're stood along that Baron Pit wall. Terrain in League of Legends, depending on what side of the map you're playing from, can really change the way that you approach it, especially when you have ability or no ability to cross over walls. CDZ pushing out this top side. Slower game again. Not had crazy early skirmishes. I say again, it's been a slower game. I don't think the first game was a slow game. It was later into the game, but not early on. We saw a lot of fights actually around the the 1 to 2 item mark, really, which we're going to be hitting about now. See if EDG can turn on the afterburners there. Now, they will have the Nocturne Orianna combo. They'll have the Aurora follow up. So that's another thing too. I mean, this is basically Nocturne paired up with two mid laners in different roles, which combo up well with him. I mean, Nocturne Aurora was already fine. Nocturne Orianna, obviously we've seen a bunch of that too.
The Knockwave.
The Knockwave, the Giratina combo in this particular game. But yeah, EDG, they if they find out Viego or is Galio squishy enough, going for an MR item first, maybe he's tanky enough. We'll see.
He get a bit tricky. Might need an extra person there, I fear. Especially because he's got Merc Treads already done. I think actually keeping him locked down for long enough could get quite tricky. They're thinking about looking for him regardless, though.
He has Flash, and the wave's not pushing in, so you can't dive on the turret. Now, they might try and look for someone like Viego's just recalling in his E, so we can do that. I mean, not really sure why you cast you to do that. Just don't give away your position it that way, I think, really. But maybe just wanted the ability to walk along in case something did happen bot side. But SQW has Merc Treads, has a tiny bit of HP, has Flash. Pretty hard to take him down. See right there, the QW not doing a huge amount of damage to the Galio. And this is one of the reasons why the combo from EDG doesn't feel game-ending. EDG, they're going to struggle to find a good target. Viego can ult out, Gwen can W, Galio can W, is also tanky in general, Xayah can ult. Maybe you can go into the Rel, but it doesn't feel like it's a prime Nocturne Orianna game. It feels like they forced it because it's a combo they know how to play, not because it's good for this draft.
Yeah, and I'm also, as pointed out by chat actually as well, as Angel gets jumped on briefly, won't lead to too much there. Look at Arn stacks.
Yeah, that's, oh, here we go, wall stun.
Nice angle from Palkia, can't quite get on top of him. Look at the dawning Shadow Burn! He's on 9 HP.
Seda can't use the power of the mist to take down its owner. Need a tiny bit more damage. A single longsword or anything. A slight breeze would have knocked him over at that point. LGD get away, but they do lose the ult and the flash on their jungler. And now Sassy's left alone. Not alone, actually, but left with a little bit open on that top side of the map. Gets a route onto the Xayah.
Get to soul for it. There's 25. Again, realistically, it's like 60 by 20 is feeling really great. That rate has slowed down a fair amount over the last patch or two, but even so, 26 at 12 feels kind of sad. We'll see whether Arn can pick it up as we go along. But as it stands, LGD, I think, despite being down 1,000 gold, relatively okay with things. What we're seeing, though, is that EDG's laning strength in their solo lanes is beginning to cause them some concerns. Xavier down a little bit of gold, but it is this Galio, it is this Gwen, who have been struggling in their individual matchups in terms of the farm rate, to the very least. That's 20 CS discrepancies, kind of in both. Maybe more like 15 topside, but still a fair discrepancy.
No, but they haven't been able to transfer that anywhere right now. It's it's very even game considering what it could be. In the early game plays from EDG got them off to an early lead. We haven't seen big trades around the map, and I think LGD are pretty happy
scaling up with the Gwen. Dragon started. This could be a fight which you're looking for. No flash on the Diego.
Comes on down. XQW tries to get in the backside. Palkia goes down. They get the kill. TP coming on in. That's a stolen body on the Poppy. Gets tricky. Shockwave onto multiple members. Hero's entrance comes on down. Now between worlds, LGD have burned a lot of their cooldowns. Can they escape? Savior flashes out, but there's fear going down on top of the Galio. Big taunt on 3, but will still fall.
Shiaow still had the paranoia at the end of that fight too. LGD had to get the hell out of dodge. They got the reset onto the Poppy, which is typically a really good champion to steal the basic abilities of, but they can't translate that into a win. And EDG used their range really to make sure that LGD can't get out unscathed. It ends up being 1-for-1. Dragon goes down. Plate's not taken on top side by LGD really. Angel will go up to get the most of that. EDG using their range advantage well in that fight.
Let's have a look again. Here's the replay. Flash on in, and basically Palkia just can't survive the full combo. But Arn isn't touched.
Yeah, Arn does get hit by the taunt down. You can see that a lot of the go buttons are now gone. You don't have the flashes. The Galio ult comes in to protect against the shockwave, but you're now trapped within the melee. The ultimate of the Zai isn't fantastic, and he has to get out very quickly. Good combo from ZDZ. Is that a 4-man ultimate? Yeah, the Galio stopped a bit of that damage coming through, but they don't have any extra go buttons at this point, and that's the problem. You will get ran down. You will be dealing with that range, which is so problematic for you.
So then EDG come away with the Dragon and go kill for kill, and you get double summoners off Savior, get the flash off XQW. The difference there, of course, is that Gwen did get to stay top, did get to get a wave shove, didn't get too much more than that. And again, ZDZ coming on in and getting involved feels pretty alright there, especially because the Aurora just got to head towards that bot lane to get the wave anyway, I believe. So didn't end up leading to the Gwen recovering as much as I think they were hoping for.
LGD positioning around the Herald as it's spawning. Don't have the Galio ult right now. EDG not contesting, so it doesn't matter. So they get themselves the Herald. They can use that to push in with the 2 grubs. If they can get the mid lane turret down, that gives them a huge win against the Nocturne. Because the Nocturne really, really likes to play with strong towers still being alive, being able to play with that shallow vision. Parakeet going a little bit deep here.
Could be in trouble. Dawning Shadow comes across as 4 members looking at the Poppy, shoves away briefly. And all the while the Herald comes on down. They've managed to clear out most of the wave, and that might actually delay the turret going down a little bit. Arm backing away. Can't stick around too much longer. Turret goes down. Not quite time for EDG either. They nearly got the one bot side.
Feats of strength to LGD if that wasn't mentioned, but I guess they had the Herald. No, that wouldn't have actually made a difference. Yeah, they had the Herald, 2 grubs, and then the Dragon, so they got it before that anyway, so my mistake. But that would have contributed to it anyway. Had the 3 kills, so you technically get all 3 markers for the feats of strength. But yeah, Palkia, bad face check there. I think he's actually had a very good debut in the LPL, but he has had occasional moments of, you know, typical support brain off moment like that, where you think, oh, I'm safe to go into this bush. You're not. By the way, Kat, I didn't see this earlier, by the way. Thank you for the raid a couple of, about half an hour ago. I did miss that one. Appreciate you an awful lot there with the bringing the viewers in. Appreciate that. EDG, they still have, that range advantage to play around. Got that side lane out of turret. Aurora got some extra gold, but losing that mid lane turret is no small thing to lose. LGD happy to take that one. We said, hey, it does help you protect against that Nocturne combo. No longer is it going to be flying out of strong vision control with 3 outer towers still remaining.
Indeed. Angel heads on towards his turret. Should be able to pick it up just fine. The tier 1 bot side looking like it's going the way of LGD.
Easily taking their 2 grubs. A Gwen tends to do that for you. Angel trying to trade on the other side. EDG trading towers across the map. I'm not actually sure if that's really what they want. Galio goes in, gets hit by a root and by the steadfast presence. Morning, Razuri. Good morning to everyone who's watching on the various streams as well. Reminder, we're streaming currently on 4 different streams, so if we're talking to someone who's not you, I promise it's not the voices in our head. I really promise it's not the voices in our head. Angel going to take down that top lane.
I'm not real.
That's why we continue with the solo cast stuff from this point. So the top lane tower does go down. Angel on his way towards the Leander. He's going towards the Blackfire. I think it's a great build for this game, by the way. Often we see the Seraphs into, or even sometimes Rod of Ages for survivability Orianna. This game, the target access onto you is not that great. There is a Rel with Flash, and that's it in terms of engage. If Y6 doesn't find you in the clump, you are then going to be an outrange Orianna who can get AoE down, increase your burn damage, and then also increase your AP per target with that burn on it. I think this is good. We saw a similar thing from Rookie on the Victor the other day. You can go towards something like the Bloodletters later to synergize up with the burn too.
Minute till Dragon to see how it works, and again I think also it's nice for the side lanes as well, because you get so much sort of like ability to go through your rotations. You tend to see things like the Cosmic Drive or the Leandry second, so your ability to just actually be relatively safe in a side lane, still have a fair amount of damage. Play with that outrange feels really good. So up 40 CS, Angel just farming really well, honestly. Is on the 10 CS a minute mark, whereas XQW's had to drop waves to make things happen.
And this is the bonus for EDG taking these tower trades. When they were doing those tower trades, they had all 3 lanes farming. And that means that Angel was largely uncontested in side lane. And this is a game which... Hang on a second, that's the paranoia thrown out.
They're looking to get in the back line. Shove onto the wall, can't get to the blast code. They take it to prevent XQW from escaping.
Wall stun seals the kill. Palkia, good start to that play, pulling on the ultimate of the center as well to make sure it came down in good time. And EDG will take themselves another kill. LGD not able to get that much. Okay, well. Okay, for reasons beyond us, the TikTok stream has now been taken down. Oh, for God's sake, TikTok being TikTok. Can't do too much about that. That sucks. Not sure what to do about that one, sadly. But yeah. So TikTok's being weird. I think copyright stuff gets a little bit strange. Even though it's technically our stream and we have co-stream rights for it, we'll have to send in an appeal about that, I guess. So this is the play which happened in boss lane. I'm sorry, folks. We just have to deal with technical issues on the other side. It's the problem with doing streaming and casting at the same time. Great wall stun to set this up. So center ult goes in.
Let's get a fair amount of value there. XQW comes on down. And get some decent work done. Good damage there onto some members in the backside. All the while, in a relatively low kill game, 5 and 20 minutes, that's not my LPL, but again, you're running with a Senna, you've got Gallios, lots of defensive tools. We've seen a fair number of flashes blown. That's about that. Couple minutes till the next dragon. EDG did get that last one. Gonna get a bit of a chunk there on these mid lane minions. Too much more to be seen. Second item just got done by Orianna. The second item was done for Save. He's gone for a very defensive build here. Essence Reaver and Phantom Dancer. A lot of ability to just burn through cooldowns, try and use the move speed to escape. And I think you can see the value in this one. The Zaya's in a bit of a weird position this game. Like if you overdive with the Ori, with the... not the Ori, the Nocturne, with the Aurora, the Poppy, you can definitely punish with those feathers. You've got a way to snap the traps of that jaw shut on various people. See how that plays out from there, of course.
Okay, well, submitted an appeal to TikTok for... I don't know what the heck's going on there, but I think that... So basically, the TikTok stream has been hit with reproduced content, but we have permission to do absolutely everything on here. It's co-streaming rights, available. That's what it is, I guess. Oh, Palkia going for the wall stun there.
There's a bit of a stun back. Maybe we just need to have our faces on there permanently. Make sure that it is legally distinct. Like Palkia is legally distinct from Palkia.
That it is. LGD. Setting up around the Atakan. Intercan comes through once again.
Gonna try and jump onto it. I think LGD, this might feel a bit desperate to me, but it will force EDG into engaging onto them. Oh, I see extra potential angle onto arm, misses the crash down.
Shiaow caught out on the side, but ults through to the other side. Now XQW caught out.
Gonna try and find some values. ADZ in potential danger, dodging away from those needles. XQW does about survive. No, he doesn't because there's still damage afterwards with the command protect and shockwave combos all coming on through. A little bit of dissonance on top. A double to Angel. Sassy, Savior in danger. Featherstorm flash keeps Savior alive, but it's not winning you a fight.
Love the way how Shiaow changed the main battlefront of that play. Ulting over to the other side of the fight. And XQW with no flash was then left as the one caught out. You'd expect, okay, one knockdown on one side of the fight. Surely he's the one that's getting caught. No, he ends up turning the tables around. Great use of that ultimate to reposition in a way that knockdowns very rarely do in that sort of situation. So the Atakan not taken down in the fight itself, might just be taken down here as EDG get the best of that play. EDG and Group Nirvana for me have clearly been the best team. They're approaching fights better, their decision making has been cleaner, and their team fights have been very, very intelligent on the whole.
It does feel that way. We'll have a look again and see how Shiaow does. Sun's coming on back. Exhaust come on down, jumps over the wall to get on out there onto the Galio, and then it's just well played at this point. You get a massive Dawning Shadow angle in.
Oh, it's huge.
Command attack, dissonance shockwave. Shove into the wall after as well. Very nice stuff.
And they just don't have the target access. It is all on that Rel. And if Rel is trying to go into a bunch of carries with a Poppy W up on top of them, you're realistically not getting much there. LGD, they're outranged. And if Rel doesn't get the perfect combo, they just don't have a way into the backline. And let's be honest, you're probably only getting 1 or 2 of those attempts even per game. They've not found it so far. It's the only way you're getting a good team fight here.
They are. Bit of a stun onto Palkia, who backing away. Starts to DPS on. Steps and forward, tries to get a bit of value. Doesn't find all that much. Managed to pick up a few more souls after these fights, at least. Now on about 66, and not like the lowest soul count ever. Trying to recover a bit there. Hasn't got to 2.5 items, so feeling a bit happy with themselves. But I think the really scary person right now is this Orianna, who is 3k ahead, is nearly Flame Horizon the XQW.
That is insane. He's not even feeling like he needs to go for the Bloodletters either. He can go towards the full Void Staff, which is higher AP, which then benefits more from the Blackfire Torch. Landry's a little low AP, still picks him up there. Palkia, be face checking a little there, puts down the ward, dips back, gets the movement speed from the Curse of the Black Mist there. Went on a flank. Dragon started. EDG taking down the mid lane turret a little bit as they go towards. They want to give up the dragon and take the tower instead. Could still go for the fight.
Well, be going to get some damage back. Work going on down.
How on's damage?
Ow, ow, ow. Gets a lot of work done. Actually, they're doing a lot of work onto the front line. Trying to run away as the Rel shoved into the wall, though, is Sassy. Dawning Shadow comes across. Dragon stolen as well. Galio here as entrance comes on through, but unfortunately they are going between worlds as EDZ goes across the veil. The double weirding! Climber has to ult away, but I think the heartbreak is for Viego. Your wife is long dead, and so, unfortunately, is the doll that contains her soul.
EDG find the fight they need to really break this game open. LGD don't find the Rel combo. It misses the center, and Arn gets to disengage, and the engage just falls apart from LGD. They can't chase down. EDG trap them into the play. They have more move speed. They have more range, and they can chase down for whatever they want. EDG gets soul point after a Dragon Steel, which is just insult to injury. Baron's just spawned. Climate is alive, I suppose, but with his teammates dead, I really don't think there's much they can do.
No, it's going to be pretty tricky here, I think, to say the least. EDG are be onto the Baron, do as much work as they can. On Angel, threatening best they can here. Yeah, potentially a bit of damage here on the Climber, who's caught in that harrowed path, trying to get an angle on in. Jumped onto Angel, buys some time, gets into the pit, doesn't matter. EDG get the Baron, but what about the fight after? The TPs come on through. Power going to put them down. Does that allow them to run away well enough? Climber throwing down the ultimate, speeding himself up. Does not hit the Spectral Maw. Angel trying to trade on out here. Shockwave pulls them back. I think Angel still dies. Big shutdown going the way of the Gwen.
So 2 kills, and LGD did get their jungler into the pit. From that position, it's about as good as it can get for LGD, but they were too far behind the play, playing off of long respawn timers from that last play around the Atakan. EDG, around the Dragon rather. Mid lane turret will be taken. EDG will still have the Baron to play around. Yes, it's a negative Baron power play for now, but EDZ might be able to catch Climate. Dodges out from that combo. It uses the ult to get away. EDG still claim the Baron, and they'll have it on 3 members. They can throw that across multiple lanes. Into the replay as... Yep, YCX just doesn't hit on. Going back towards that Dragon play as... gets to disengage, walk over the wall, repossession for a 3-man ult. Dragon gets smited. That's the real stinger there, where you think, okay, at least we could get the Dragon and get out. They can't even do that. Getting out Team 4, lose the smite fight. The Xayah struggling to play on the other side of it, sadly for Savior. Just can't really use that feather pullback in the same way. This is kind of why I wanted a Jhin or something like that instead. At least give yourself some longer range follow-up potential. I think the range advantage is becoming more and more apparent as the game goes on.
So, Angel, now back in mid lane. Again, yes, the Orianna dies, but she's got 3 items. You've got Baron, your own soul point. Like, a couple kills back is not enough. At the very least... Gwen getting gold, getting to 3 kills. If there was a way back in, it's the Gwen popping off. That might give you an angle. See how it works. Arn potentially in danger here is Sassy. Is in that bush. Very nice scout out there with the last embrace. Gives a warm hug to Sassy in that bush. Control wall put down. See too many people walk up here shoving with Baron minions and not warding that bush out and getting caught out.
YCX doesn't have flash. Has the spellbook exhaust and the heal. Makes it harder for him to land a big engage. EDG controlling the map. They'll be able to take the mid lane in a turret, so the Baron power play will look a little bit better. Look, the number in the top left-hand side of the screen doesn't look that fantastic, right? But with these towers going down, it will get much, much better. And the map control they've gained from this is utterly insane. And LGD are not good. They barely have engaged from the start of things. Now how are they going to find that limited engage when they don't even have the angle to pull it from?
He was in a negative Baron power play because the Orianna got hit by Sassy for an insane shutdown, largely. Angel looking to be looking a bit more avenging this time around where and when possible. Turrets being assaulted. Should be able to turn around Sassy into the back line. In comes the hero's entrance, but the Poppy ult knocks the Gwen away. Shiaow now turns onto YCX. ZDZ gets a huge chunk onto the Rel, who is looking more and more like a failed Uma Musume run. Just, doesn't have the stamina to keep on going.
Nah, didn't get swinging Maestro and just rolled bad on the training. Had too many mood downs, and YCX will be departing this one before all goals are completed. Pushing in the mid lane, EDG. This has been a fairly clean series from them. They have consistently looked like the best team in Group Nirvana. We thought that when they showed this roster at the start of the year, or parts of this roster, because there have been some changes to it as well with Palkia coming in, we thought that they should be competing for... we thought they'd be competing for Group Ascent initially in their first group, and then I believe it was TT in their group, which overperformed.
Yeah,
it was EDG and LNG in the same group in Split 1, and EDG beat them, but did lose to Thundertalk in what we assumed was an upset at that point. Thundertalk ended up being pretty decent, but this is more the level which we thought we'd see from them, given what had happened with the core of these players from the last year and their last year's performances. Looking good for them here in Group Nirvana now.
That it is. EDG find themselves in a good position. It was a little bit slower early on. Again, only like 5 kills in 20 minutes. Was a little bit nervous in some ways, but as the game's gone on, the individual leads are growing bigger and bigger and bigger. Climber flashed on out of Palkia's attempted engage. Slow zone flash. YCX Climate down those summoner spells.
LGD have the flash back up on the route, and that's the biggest thing they have, isn't it? Got to try and find out
the grey box.
Yeah, it's just come back in. Sorry, I didn't even know you were talking about that one. Actually, I was looking around some of the rest of the stuff. Oh no! Just onto the Poppy. Failed engage.
And here comes the paranoia, and somewhere out there, Ozzy Osbourne is smiling, as we all know exactly what's happened, as no one's helping with their minds or their fights this time around. Savior caught within that steadfast presence, and ensuring that this particular domain is the owner, or under the ownership and auspice of the Pokemon god of space, Palkia.
That's not exactly a Black Sabbath, it's the Black Monday instead. It's the day of the week, but yeah, they can't rely on their Iron Horse to do the Iron Man's job. LGD failed the engage enough times. EDG, better drafts, better macro, better team fights. A parading ult, a party ultimate from Palkia as EDG go 4-0 in the group stage, in the Nirvana group.
Palkia gets a triple at the end of that. That's wonderfully wild. Onto the turrets we go. LGD end up in a pretty difficult position, to say the least. 11,000 gold down now, 1 and 2. EDG commandingly leading Group Nirvana 4-0.
EDG sweep the series 2-0, and it just stamping their authority on Group Nirvana. They have been by far the best team. They lost, one game, I believe, so far. Trying to remember if that was against NIP. But yeah, EDG have largely been very, very clean. Very, very clean. I've even dropped a single game. No, sorry, I apologize. 2-0s all the way so far. 2-0s all the way. They're currently 8-0. EDG, if there was something to bring out the old EDG fans from hiding, it's been a long time since they could be at the top, really since the start of 2023. It's been about 2 years since they've given hope, really. They're looking good right now, though. We'll see how far they can go, whether this will start to sputter out when they face against better teams. I expect them now to get through into contesting with Group Ascent, but this has been good.
It's been solid work there for a squad that I think in some ways people have just sort of said, yeah, okay, it's over. But the addition of Banter has just been really good. He's finally given them the bit of playmaking they needed to get some of the carries online. Shiaow also back to looking pretty good, which is really important. And we saw him overplaying in the attempted kind of last chance qualifiers last stage. Reminder, went into the likes of WE, got monkeyed. I hesitate to call it out, but there was that Kai'Sa game where he got caught multiple times despite having the gold lead by a Skarner ult mid Kai'Sa ult. Quick play from Monkey. A little bit weird from the Kai'Sa to go melee range of a Skarner a little bit too freely. Yeah. And those kind of moments got problematic. EDG these days a lot more relaxed, a lot more confident, and just a lot better. I think there's no other way around it. They look like they're playing that out, and we were a bit bit more interested to see how this comp would work, because it was a lot of like, okay, a couple Nocturne combos and a lot of range, but this could get really weird if they overdive into the Galio and stuff, but they just played it slow, got to the point where they just individually outlaned. I mean, Angel in particular, how much CS was he had by the end of the game? 4K individual?
Yeah,
like,
Angel gets
really good game.
It was a really good series from him. You know, his Annie in game 1 was powerful too. I'm trying to think who my player of the series. I mean, probably Shiaow, actually. Shiaow, I mean, I really liked how the Nocturne could have been a lost condition if he dove into the enemy team and gave a reset. He was very, very good at using his ultimate, turning the lights off, and then using it not to dive into the middle of the team, but to dive onto the other edge of a team fight and force LGD to reposition where the Nocturne was. Because they thought that the easy kill might be onto him. That was clearly not the case. The Paranoia was used really, really well to make sure that he was on just changing the front line. It was really, really good from him. I think Shiaow had a great series today. He's a player which I've always watched with great interest after his you know, his year on Anyone's Legend, where I thought he could be the next big thing. Didn't make it work on Weibo, but this guy clearly still has a ton of talent.
Yeah, he does. He does a lot of really good work there and gets a lot of really good value, and that's pretty fantastic news.
Okay, folks, we're going to go into our break now and wait for the second series. I'm really bummed out about whatever the hell's happened to the TikTok thing.
Yeah.
I have set an appeal over. I'd imagine it's... yeah,
Maybe
I don't...
it's reports? I don't actually know.
I don't know about that, but I've sent an appeal through basic. So basically what happened, folks, midway through that game, TikTok said, like, live access has been suspended because it's reproduced content. Now, it is not reproduced content because we are streaming it. It's our stream. Which, you know, like, it's our stream, you know? So... And we have co-streaming rights to stream the LPL, so that's not a problem either. It's not a problem about rights from LPL or anything like that. So it's just a little bit. It just bums me out a little bit, right? Because right now it's pretty hard to. It's really large. I need to
make that smaller.
Need to make it windowed because I had it on the scene for other stuff. But yeah, I know because we're trying to stream on as many places as possible, win the algorithm roulette, and bring it to as many people as possible. You know. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Let me just. Sorry. Where's the horse game? Where's the horse game? Sorry. There you go. There's the. Sorry. I messed up on the stats things there, so you won't be able to see that. But yeah, no, it's just annoying, right? Because we put in a ton of effort for this, folks. We put in a ton of stuff for this. Yes, we do need to run adverts as well. I'll run that in a little bit so you can see some of the highlights. But yeah. Because we're currently streaming on 4 places because it helps with the algorithm. It brings it to more people. Hopefully gives us a bit more diversity in terms of audience and hopefully income at some point, right? Because if we get my TikTok channel to a point where it's got a decent amount of followers, can apply to the creator fund, and then actually when I make videos, it's not because I just think they're good or whatever. It's also, hey, I can maybe get some money back off the views and stuff like that from it. So yeah, that's
But hey, it's a learning experience. We're still quite new to the TikTok. We're going to be doing it for like a week or so. In fact, that's basically how long we've been doing it. So it's just a little bit of the learning curve. Might just be we just need to make the TikTok stream look a bit more distinct. Maybe we need to go back to the vertical like cameras in or something.
Yeah, maybe do vertical and change it that way.
I have saved some screenshots of League streamers on TikTok to see how they're setting their things up.
No, but that's not live gameplay and stuff. I understand that. Yeah.
I know, but it's like it might just be the way that the TikTok stream has to look to avoid to make things legally distinct.
Okay.
But we shall see.
Okay, let's play some goddamn horse game. Okay, we'll do that during the break.
Do you want me to get you a coffee?
Yes, goddamn, please.
Do you want the cafetiere coffee or the latte coffee?
Whatever you're making, it's fine.
Fabulous.
Okay, run some adverts now, folks. Oh, yeah, sorry, folks. I'm actually quite bummed out by that because it's like Sam and I have been having a lot of like hard talks recently about basically financially, is esports working out for us? And the answer is right now, no.
Really?
No, not really. You know, rent is expensive and stuff like that, and I don't want to make it a stop to it. And I'm not. I already know. I probably talk about this on stream too much already because I don't want to bring the vibes down. However, basically, we've had some hard talks recently, and trying to make the stream work would be really nice to try and get something kind of going for ourselves. And it's not really popped off in the way that we would have wanted, really, which is fine. I mean, not everything can. We've basically just been trying to stay in it for the long run, so we can, you know, roll the dice a few more times. Let's get something going. Let's do something I haven't done before. Why haven't I got a? I don't think I've ever done Nice Nature before. Sure. What are you? Medium long? We can work with that. And then we can get some. Do we have guest things yet? No, I used all my guest things, so I have to use my own ones. Okay. And I want to use power if I can. What I found is basically getting
Game of the second series. Buckle up, folks. There's our skybox. There's the call for the chance. Let's let the crowd have a bit of a yell. It's not our usual chant leader for Jing Dong today. Someone else filling in the role of our would-be Bale.
Isn't it Igor?
Igor might be the one yelling about Bale, yeah.
Or Igor? Don't know how it's pronounced, actually. I just know it's spelled that way. The Elden Ring DLC dude, you know, the dude who has a real Kanavi flashes the JDG motive towards JDG because, of course, 369 Kanavi and Hom made a legacy over on JDG, and we don't say that lightly. They really did. They ran the LPL for such a long time. Jackalove throwing an auto attack at Wink will stop. Well, at least scout out that ward happening there. Kanavi might choose to start on Raptors now because it's like, well, if I'm going to take Raptors on Vision at some point, I may as well do it at the start of my clear so they get less information as the game goes on.
So, it's that word again.
Yeah,
I used
it is.
I was just trying to start a new train of thought.
What am I doing? Top boost or JDG? Super hot, super hype. Right, let's get into it. Level 1, the Ricochet. Jackulove going to be getting that Ricochet to help us. And Hung does this just to make sure that the enemy team can't auto-attack the wave as quickly, but pays eyes on the prize, which in this case is the wave shove. And that'll make sure that they're not too far behind on that shove. The level 1 headbutt from Hung doesn't achieve that much, sadly, with that in mind.
It's very close to level 2 fights here. I think Pays should be okay to do it, but the Ricochet is proving a little too obnoxious. They can't play around the motion control as freely as they did that last wave, and I think JDG are saying, look, we're going to give level 2 to Top Esports.
Zeri really doesn't have the wave clear at that level 1 in the same way. Hung walks up and takes a couple more autos than he would be particularly happy with. Rakan Hikyu hits as well. Scout, yeah, one of our few people who's still prioritizing the Yone. And at World Swiss stage last year on LNG, he was an well, the whole tournament, in fact, even in the quarterfinals, which they lost. Scout's Yone was a huge standout. He was a very good pick on, very good player of the pick when it was a max pick ban, really, at Worlds last year.
Problem is, you then look back to playoffs last split, and how did they bow? It was Scout having a stinker on Yone versus WE, where he just missed every up.
Yeah. JDG, their individual performance been up and down. Shun gonna get invaded by Kanavi, and yeah, Trundle is a nasty old duelist at this point. Pillars and back.
Try and Weston advance forwards, gets the phase rush to run away, but Kanavi's still on the frozen domain. You can't run quite that fast. I think he might have to flash here.
Does. Oh. Kanavi can't quite get the chomp back. Flash for flash. If he'd just taken the summon, it would have been fine. Spaced out combo against the wall.
Okay, he's now potentially in danger. Does get trample stunned with the passive of Alistair, but gets out to safety. Goes down, heal down there, in trade for just the heal on Hum.
Yeah, a little bit of damage coming in from that trample. Whenever you cast a spell, you do some extra AoE damage around you. You get the Triumphant Roar as well from that. So, oh no, isn't it? Yeah, Triumphant Roar is the passive now, isn't it? For Alistair. Isn't that the thing? But Pays, yeah, stood against the wall. It allows for Alistair to get that extended CC duration, because you don't actually have to do headbutt pull as a combo. You can space them out. Kanavi, with an evade, will take that red buff. Playing really well on the Trundle. Ganking top side now, 369. Gets a good chunk onto Shiaow. Flash onto the Rumble.
And gets some damage down onto this mecha in the top side. Gets the flash, but not too much more. Shun looking to potentially counter. 369 low, but with no flash on Shun. Don't think they're quite going to be able to get to him.
So Shun loses his red buff, but does end up saving his top laner just about. Shiaow loses his flash.
Ah, this could get interesting. Shun's going to come on over.
He will do, and he will have smite, but Kanavi still kills him, and he has the red buff. This is a problem. He dies here if it stays too long.
I think he's in danger. The Rumble's coming down, but Cream's coming up. That makes it the 1v1. Twisted hands forward. Shun, that's bloody deep. Bramble Smash will make this the 1-for-1. Scout unbinds his soul. Can't find too much more, though.
That's about as good as it could go for JDG there. Shun, I was thinking he'd overplayed that, and in fairness, against the Trundle, he kind of did. But both junglers go down. And the kill goes over towards Shiaow on the Rumble, which will be able to get him to the point where he can deal with the Ornn a little bit easier. In the early lane, we've seen it more and more from players like 369, that the Rumble can really struggle into an Ornn. The Ornn can really abuse that lane. And then it's really around the, the 1-2 item mark where the Rumble starts to get just infinite wave clear, the Ornn starts to lose pressure on the map, and the Rumble can start taking over in mid-game. Shiaow getting that early kill with that in mind, important for JDG to stop the Ornn having as much matchup impact in that matchup.
I do have to offer a correction, as Time Lord in chat is entirely right. It's no longer the pass that gets the stun. Scout is going to be forced to flash here. Kanavi gets the job, but I think that's going to be a kill, and that's perhaps a bit more important than correcting my minor mistake about Alistair for now. Nice pick up there, but you are right. Time Lord Triumph Raw is now on that one, and the trample goes a little elsewhere.
Kanavi having such a good impact on this Trundle now. Buffer invade, gets himself into that topside blowing flash. Once again forces Shun out of his own jungle. Yes, died at that point, but getting a kill in the mid lane. Kanavi's Trundle is getting to the point where it is a must ban for me. I just don't think you can give this champion over to Kanavi.
It's looking really nasty, and again, the early pick of it still getting huge value, and JDG now in a really tricky spot. The fact that Cream is the one that's picked up the early kills here, has gotten the wave away from Scout there as well, because he's the one to die again. This Azir is going to be so ahead of his Yone.
Yeah, so it'll be on Cream to pilot the champion to make use of the resources given to him. Scout trying to push out that wave. We'll trade a bit of his HP to do so. Cream clearing out the wave on the other side. So JDG, not the easiest early game for them. Shun being bullied out by Kanavi. You somewhat expect that with the Maokai into the Trundle, but it's been a little bit more than I think they would have liked. Jackalope getting control over bot side has allowed Hung to go about the place. He's also got himself the Spellbook Teleport to be on call for the rest of the map too. JDG will need to be aware of that, and I suppose they are. Winker's also changed over to the Teleport. I think the Spellbook support Scrim meta has been, okay, you take the Teleport at this timing. 6 odd minutes in when people start to go around the map. We've got, you know, first objective spawning with the grubs coming up in about a minute. You can start teleporting out onto the map, get a quick reset, come back out onto the map very, very quickly. EDG collecting wave at tower. Maokai's gone for a back, has that Fated Ashes now, but Kanavi is, yeah, he's gone for the London build, the triple longsword. I guess that's the Talon build. Does everyone remember back in Season 3, Season 4, where Talon would build just 4 longswords?
Yeah.
Because he would always go towards, like, the Ravenous Hydra first and a bunch of other things. So
Brutalizer and
Brutalizer,
stuff.
so
Yeah,
he'd just build a ton of longswords. Longswords are the key. And he just gets so much variety from it. It's an older meme, but I remember that one fondly.
Does check out. JDG down about well, I was going to say 2,000 gold, but 1 and a bit thousand gold. But early on, a lot of it is in that mid lane, a lot of it's in that jungle. And again, you've got slight leads for this Rumble. That's great to get the kill early, but the Ornn is scaling just fine. Your bot lanes are going even. I think Top Esports in a very strong position to take this game further.
Bot lane control from the Sivir has been overwhelming. Pays would like to scale up to his own point of power as well. We did say Top Esports are a scaling team with, you know, strong tank frontline, Sivir backline. Dragon's been taken. Nice for Top Esports. In regards to that scaling, so now they can drop some dragons later, buy some more time for that, or of course force the soul points and force JDG to come into their team front to back. But it's not like JDG don't have their own scaling too. I think that the top side of this combo, yes, I think it really does hard spike at 1 item, going into 2 items. Very, very strong. Rumble, Maokai, Yone, all setting up for each other in their big AoE ultimates. But Zeri is also very strong in this kind of game. At Top Esports, if they don't immediately shut down that Zeri once she has a few items, the Zeri can carry. And we know it pays a Zeri. He's damn good at this champion.
That he is. So, Cream looking for a bit of work over there. Shun to get that little thump back there with the Bramble Smash. Grubs all secured by Top Esports. Nicely done. That last one finally goes down to the tick of the jungle pet. Shiaow didn't ward, doesn't know what's going on.
He can still ult the wave, and he's full HP with flash. So I think he feels, look, I'm safe enough for now. Let's be honest, the instant CC from a Trundle is not fantastic.
It's
it would have
true.
to be
Yeah.
Alistair going forwards, and at worst, you flash, you ult the wave, and you're out safe. But yeah, I suppose that face check could have been a little bit risky. Jackalope doing his best to just, you know, permanently shove in a wave and give Top Esports some way to go into the enemy side of the map.
And setting up Kanavi to do more irritating things. Shun is going towards the burn build. We are still seeing a lot of Maokais and LPL do that. It feels like you get a lot more value out of it, even if you're not really a frontline that way, or at least it's very conditional. You just get a lot of value out of the saplings alone.
I think in a game against this kind of team from Top Esports, and we saw Anyone's Legend do this against BLG Game 1. If you want to see the value of the burn Maokai in a top LPL game, Game 1, Anyone's Legend BLG, great example of how Tarzan used the bush saplings to poke out 4 objectives. Kanavi gonna link up with 369.
Fate Seal buffers through the Ornn ult, but Kanavi's already waiting, and Scout's only got a Q to work with. Flash on forward, unbinds the soul, but you're going nowhere. Really lovely gank from Top Esports.
Another kill participation from Kanavi, 100% at 1, 1, and 2. 369 comboing up with that, and Scout dying. Again on a side lane. Scout, weird form from him. He's had a couple of good games, and we thought that we thought that maybe Summer Scout would be back. He did have 1 or 2 awesome games so far, even in the first 2 series, but you know, you can't distract from the fact that Scout had a poor playoffs last split, and his recent form has, again, still been mercurial. And right here, getting caught out in that side lane, way, way away from his own side of vision, really, whilst being on the weak side of the map. It's not a great mistake to make.
And just look at the amount of wards he's playing around. They've got a line around it to top esports. So this Yone pushing as far as he did, it was just very risky. He's going to go back to the scene of the crime and try and rescue things as best he can. Still down that 1,000 or so gold, and is, I don't think, getting that much easier. That big lead in the Yone, not the Yone, on the Azir into the Yone, probably the better way of phrasing that. Looking very good for top esports, especially because they are the scaling team this game, I feel.
Yeah, they are. And we highlighted that JDG have scaling factors, but top esports so scales a team better. And I think I'd want to actually just revisit the thing about the Azir, because I want to just divorce the Azir from the matchup against the Yone. For me, it's Azir getting ahead of gold against JDG as a team, not just the Yone. It's not really about the 1v1 right now. I think if you get enough gold on the Azir to get an early Seekers or an early Zhonya's, JDG run out of options. If suddenly you're flying in with a Rakan and a Yone ultimate, you stasis, 369, puts a pillar down at his feet and slams into it as he comes out of stasis. It's one of 369's signature moves, by the way, if you're going to have that for a champion. His mid laner goes into stasis. He knocks up the people as he comes out of stasis. He used to do that with Ruler on JDG when he was in Zyre Ultimate too. I don't think JDG have a great answer for that. Hun can do the same on the Alistar as well. Scout going to potentially get... I mean, I think this is not going to get a dive, let's be honest. It's top lane support and they're both tanks. But that's why I wanted to just remove the Azir from the Yone discussion, because just against the whole team, if Azir gets gold, gets to, say, Rylos for HP, Seekers on 2.5 item, JDG really struggle to deal with that.
And again, don't get me wrong, you've still got a Zeri, you've still got a Yone, you've got good team fight options here, and it is certainly going to be a consideration here. Like, it's not like the scaling is not there for JDG either. It's just when we look at these front to backs, when we look at the raw AoE consistent damage from top esports, whereas it is a little bit more burst ult wombo reliant from a JDG. You're wanting Maokai, Yone, Rumble, all to ult everyone at once and blow people up. That will be a threat. It's just not quite the same on the other side.
Hey, I appreciate a lot more Pika Pika as well for the extra sub there coming through on Twitch. Really appreciate you and everyone else who's sat here watching as well.
Hello.
10 seconds now on the dragon spawning. Kanavi 1,000 gold up. That one actually is important in the individual matchup. We saw it even in the early game. It's like, wow, Maokai can't play against this. Now, if you do have, you know, the Bush Sap playing onto the Trundle, yeah, it's kind of painful as hell. But if Kanavi ever gets melee range of someone with 1,000 gold lead in the jungle, with a half a level full up on Shun, yeah, this Trundle will do some silly things. We saw him get a Penta. Right here, though, needs to be a little bit careful. Just dodge out with the Frozen Domain.
Yeah, that one gets annoying, I think it's fair to say. Let's see exactly how that will go. Cream is going to be just fine by the looks of it. Does look, however, like Shun is going to throw down this Nature's Grasp. Dragon secured, nonetheless. The Equalizer on top of Cream is good, but it's just not that much damage. Now they're turning it around. The quickness comes on down from Wing to try and buy a bit of space, but now he's in danger of himself and just gets munched away. Bird on bird violence. And it turns out Azir is the Raptor hung, looking for an angle onto Shun. Here has run out of phase rush, doesn't have a flash, but doesn't want to overdive into this turret with the barbecue running. Kanavi, though, coming behind. Might feel like he gets some more. Frozen Domain gets a chomp, but again, it's still a little bit risky into the Leandri's Rumble. But as strong as this Rumble gets.
Yeah, it is, but also Kanavi sat there, potentially, you know, the max level Chomp does a hell of a lot of work with that Triforce. Going to steal away a Gromp because, of course, it's Kanavi. He'll never miss a chance to just take away a camp. Gets the heal off of the Gromp there, too. He's going to even just get a Chomp for the Triforce. Block onto tower as well. Hell yeah, tower damage. We take those. Going to walk in. Xiaow, does he have enough wave clear? Wink coming down. To threaten a knock up under tower, pops that ghost actually because I don't know, he gets his flashback available, I suppose. And Cream's gonna get even more gold. Gonna get the knock up flashes to make sure he doesn't get CC'd.
Getting some decent value now as Xiaoshu's trying to get something down. Will at least get the Trundle. No, sorry, not the Trundle, it's bloody Cream because Kanavi's running at people. They're at least not getting him hung with the flash. Can't quite headbutt over the wall, so Kanavi has to flash. Woe to you, oh JDG, for the Trundle brings the chomps with wrath.
Cream flashes the knockup to make sure they could kill the turret. They get the first turret. That felt so extra. Did he have to flash there? Not sure. Was that a teleport cancel, I think, from Scout onto 369? I didn't quite see what the context of that one was, but he used that ultimate flashed out, trying to deny 369 going through. Obviously didn't help his team win the team fight on the other side of the map. They still lost anyway. And Kanavi is just, it's troll mode, man. It's troll mode. He's 3-1 and 3, ridiculously far ahead. He's at how much CS? He's about 20 CS, which is 5 camps up on Shun. Oof. That's so ridiculous in a pro game, because you often expect, to be able to catch up a camp or two, even if you start falling behind. But Shun has been so bullied out. I think this is a problem of the matchup. I actually think Shun was playing pretty well in the early levels to try and get something back, but this is the problem of playing this matchup. Kanavi's played so well on it, and Shun has now been eclipsed really by this Kanavi.
Indeed. Mid lane tier 1 goes down. Jackie Love picks that up. Herald now being looked at. Doesn't lead to too much right now. All the while, value as at least JDG get that one. Look on to Jackie, actually. They jump over the wall. Really good combo from Wink and Pays.
Oh, Jackie Love way too far up. No one was near him. Good combo. The ability to hop over the wall. Very powerful from the Zeri and the Rakan. Pays gets himself a kill, and that's important. We did say that the scaling factor of JDG is in this Zeri. The game's not really focused on the Zeri at all so far. Uses the ult, uses that ghost, which is a big investment, I suppose, but JDG gets something back.
Yeah, it was basic because Jackie shoved up the mid lane turret while the Herald was going down, so thought he was safe, got that turret, put a ward down. As he puts the ward down, the jump comes on over, thinking that the bot lane was on the Herald. And they were 2-3 seconds before that.
Yes. Showing up a little bit too far. But however, Jackie Love's still not in a bad position. This game has...
He's still got the turret.
He's still got the turret, and that's a big win for them. Cream using those 3 grubs, Gnasher Tooth is here to hit the top lane turret, and this is what Scout was doing all the way through 2023 and 2024. It's really what he liked doing. Holds on to Shiaow, doesn't have flash. Here comes the big old ram jam.
Nicely done. Knockup comes on in. Equalizer is not there to be found because Shiaow is dead. Can't quite get the kill on Wink, but it's nicely done. The tier 1 top side gonna fall afterwards.
There is something quite upsetting about seeing 369 and Kanavi dunking on their old team like this. This is what they used to do on JDG. 369, Kanavi, Hom. The trio from the gods. They ran the LPL for so long as 369 clears out the wave after brutalizing the top lane, and there is no jungler like Kanavi in the LPL. He is we've kind of, probably just because it's the rhyme, but also just like it as well. Kanavi, the one-man army. This guy's everywhere. He bullies out on his own. And this Trundle being so good in so many jungle matchups right now, even putting on the subjugate just to make sure the burst damage is ridiculously high. Normally you don't do it onto the squishies as much, but
it again,
makes sense. Yeah, they are. Here come the Bash Bros again. Not Kanavi this time, but 369 helping Cream get the kill under the turret.
Yeah, you don't need both of them, because that means that the Trundle can go farm his own camps, gets to take a breather, but it's another kill towards Cream. Again, a player who, despite being on top esports, despite having so many regular season accolades to top esports, lots of players on that MVP All-Pro shortlist, Cream didn't make it, did he? He was getting criticised there, at least within the LPL English community, at least within the wider LPL community. So I was saying, look, is he actually at the level of the rest of the team? So far this split, having another good showing, but we've been curdled by supporting him before.
Dragon is available, and on the other side, talk about Scout again. 0 and 3. We're saying, Summer Scout maybe gave us some hope a little bit before, but it seems like it's just not really been Scout's game again. He's been completely blown out in side lanes, trying to make plays to stop teleports, push up aggressively in side lanes. I understand there might be some desperation to say, well, look, we're getting out scale, we're falling behind in early matches. Someone needs to make early plays, but you can't make them like that. And you still have to criticize Scout, even if there is a mindset behind there. Caught out side lane as we speak about it.
Nice smite. He's going to rebind his soul, and I don't think he'll be rebound for all that long. Goodbye, my son. Cream is waiting.
And Scout feeling a little bit lactose intolerant there. Gonna take a quick break to sort that one out. Tower will go down on this wave with Jackie Love and this mega fed Trundle with 3 grubs going through. Hang on a second, they can take an inhibitor. Sorry, JDG. JDG, you need to get back now. I guess they don't have a response. Trundle,
oh my god.
Trundle just hates towers.
You've got Trinity Force on Trundle, Nash's on us here, and of course it's Sivir who gets to sit there. Hung might, in the end, not be able to defend this mid-tier 1. He's in a spot of bother. I'm not quite sure he was there by himself. Will survive, though, at the cost of his flash. And he does buy quite a lot of time and resources from JDG.
Yeah, but he doesn't stop the tower going down. Loses flash, loses ult. Not great there from Hung. I don't think it'll be that consequential. Top esports have 2 other tank frontliners now. With Trundle being this far ahead, he is a tank frontliner. He doesn't always fall into that role, but definitely does here. Top Esports do have an objective bounty that will give some gold. Giving up mid lane out of turret is never a small thing to do as well, but inhibitor turret on a single wave push, that is the power of Azir Trundle. Both whacking away on those turrets with the multiple grubs. JDG have been a step behind on the map, and the reason they've been put a step behind really has been Kanavi.
Yeah, the problem is the step is now about the size of the Atlantic Ocean. Like, you have got to get on a plane to crest this difference.
I thought it was going to
now.
be like the step was like the Mongol step. You know,
that would also have been perhaps a bit more appropriate.
They're bringing horse archers!
Oh, they're actually just bringing trolls is what they're doing. They have a cave troll, Shun! Somewhere out there, Boromir screams in slight rage at that one.
That is one of my favourite delivered movie lines of all time. They have a cave troll. Very exasperated he was. What a movie that was.
Drums in the river.
Top Esports starting up the outer Khan because of the flash away and the HP gone and shown. It will be uncontested. Top Esports, wherever they go with the Trundle and with any extra person on the map, it has gone to absolute hell. Cream 2.5 items coming up already, and 2.5 items on Kanavi, of course, is going to be a scary, scary point. JDG, I don't see how they safely collect farm to get to a point to fight back. They were really hoping for an objective throw from Top Esports at Khan. That was one of the occasions. Now gone. They're waiting for Baron to see if the Top Esports throw. You have to keep yourself in the ring until that point. You can't throw in the towel. You need to find a way to somehow pick up a mistake from Top Esports, because that's the best you got right now.
Best you got. That's a dire statement, isn't it? And look what's just come on in. Ornaments coming on through, and Jackie Love has been graced with an upgraded Infinity Edge.
The Molten Edge.
Yeah, once known as a Molten Edge. I'm sad they removed all those names. I spent a long time learning them all.
Still call them it.
That's true.
Trinity Fusion was one of them too. Yeah. Wink has Flash, has Ult.
Oh,
Jackie Love
baby.
does have Flash, Ult, Ghost, and Spell Shield though, and I think he's just spotted them.
Yeah.
Went up a little bit too far. Looking for that pick in mid lane. Again, these freak picks can also slow the game down. They want to do as much as that as possible. But Top Esports, I think they've been moving around the map so confidently in this game. This is regular season Top Esports, the one that you fear in the LPL.
If you're looking for a win condition, maybe something like Pace.
What is that damage?
Yeah, that's...
What?
It doesn't exist.
A single Chomp just took up like a fifth of the tower damage. What the hell?
We are basically seeing Trundles be like... basically roaming demolitionists. They turn up out of nowhere and just order the turret a few times.
It's Trundstana. Look at it again going in. That tower will go down on this wave.
Quite, because basically Shen has to pull the ult to try and defend it. He walks up.
I'm not going to lie. I think they could take the tank the Mao Curl and just keep auto-attacking the turret. I think they could have done it. So it won't be on that wave. Force back a little bit. They'll buy the ultimate, not play the risk, I suppose, of getting CC'd under there. Minute till Dragon. 2 minutes until Baron spawns. Top Esports pushing in JDG so much to the point where they have very, very limited vision across the map.
That we do. So, Top Esports going to be trying to get as much value here as they can, as this Dragon's about to spawn. It'd be sold for Top Esports.
So this is not the first time we've seen the Yone enter the Zir not do fantastically. We saw it from anyone's Legend versus Weber the other day, and Kazel actually raises up a really good point here. You know, I think that so Yone was and has been picked as an answer into Azir. I don't think it's answering effectively. I think realistically what you want to look at now is something more like Akali, Orianna, or Victor, something which can match range with the mage, or dive onto him a little bit more. Yeah, the Akali seems to be a little bit more effective at that dive right now. 369, not getting a knock up there. Of course, the Trundle on combo, really nasty with that for the smack engage. What you can sometimes do, which is a very low counterplay combo, Ornn starts to charge, Trundle pillars in front of them so you don't even know where. It's just like an instant knock-up engage. Dragon now spawning, JDG taking the fight from the bot side of the river, using bot lane to get some priority through. It's the best angle they've got, but they are now lining up for an Ornn ult.
Scout gets onto Hung, but that's it. He's stacking up on a Gromp. Hung flashes away from the attempted engage from Wink. Down that summoner spell. Back towards the Dragon we go. 5k HP.
No Yone E means that Scout's out of the fight. They can take the fight while the Yone E's down.
And it's taken by Shun. Nice secure on that one. Prevents the soul. What about the fight afterwards? Scout to the backline. Fate Seal goes across, but it's knocked away. Can't quite get the angle. He's looking for that Scout in the middle of everyone. Goes on down. They're all running away. Shuffle back from Cream, who can't quite get far enough. Pays is trying, but goes down. 369 and Jackie Love with the ricochets. Bounces him on through. Deep Purple wishes Child in time to kill them all.
Pays didn't have enough damage. 4,500 damage from Shun, almost 5,000 from Pays. Make what should have been a pretty unwinnable fight into something within arm's reach. That is gutting for JDG, because if they got into this point where they weren't so far behind, I think they could have walked away with it. But Top Esports, the early game was so dominant. The amount of gold that they have is so dominant that they cannot they cannot be out DPS. Watch here. The Maokai ultimate gets how many roots? I think it's 4 overall because Cream ends up walking back into it. The Equalizer's not bad either. And the Hurricane Zeri with ult running does a ton of work. They're just too far behind. They even get a brush tackling coming in afterwards. Mechanically, this is well played by JDG. They're just too far behind.
And they try to buy that sapling there from the bush, as you said, was really scary. But the moment Pace gets knocked up, trying to get those last few orders down, it's tricky. Scout kind of gets denied his proper big fate sealed as well. Jackie space as well against the Rumble. And now you've got a 7-1 Azir and a 2-1 Sivir, who is fine here at the 3 items. It's looking rough.
And I'd say about how many months ago? 8 months ago, I'd say. Scout was going 3-0 in group stage, Swiss stage at Worlds, largely through playing the Yone incredibly well. You called out when I mentioned that earlier. Well, okay, that was Worlds, but what about LPL recently? As Jekyll misses a cannon. No, we don't miss those. Scout's Yone last playoffs was not it. He's 0-5. Scout is meant to be, he kind of drains the power from Shiaow from Spring and puts it into Summer instead. Scout in Summer is meant to be this unrivaled beast in so many different ways, and it's just not been that in this series. Top Esports have schooled him in side lanes and team fights.
They have. Jackie Love coming across, going to get some value here best he can. Wink throws down the quickness. Can't quite get to Jackie Love, so he's gone very deep for it, but they have gotten onto him. That's the Sivir down. Finally, they get the combo. Shun goes in, trying to buy some space for Pace to keep shooting. Loses most of his HP bar doing it, though, because the shuffle away from Cream is solid. Cream will end up using his own shuffle to give himself a shield. Health bar's low, but JDG again so close. They get the Sivir, but the extended fight, you killed one of the DPS threats, not all of them.
Sam does his daily mic fudge to go through this.
Get a bit excited, I'm sorry.
Paze on the 3 item Zeri is trying his best. I mean, Paze Zeri has been such a big champion for him, and Paze, honestly, he's not been on the best form either in recent days too. Had a couple of good games, but again, it's been a mixed bag. If they'd gotten to this game a little more even, perhaps it would have been playable. Kanavi, Cream, 369, really making sure that it's not hung as well. 0-0 and 10. Scout, normally you wouldn't die to an Ornn and a Trundle, but there's actual threat here when the Trundle is that fed.
Yeah, that's the one, and one got a bit tricky. Inhibitor turret, or inhibitor itself goes down. Chomp onto the inhibitor turret top side, and reminder, they already killed the inhibitor turret in bot lane earlier because the Trundle and the Azir just ran at it with a Sivir. Now you're down every single inhibitor bar this bot lane. Shun has gone behind, looking for an angle. Jackie Love now turning on up. He started to turn onto this Maokai. Hung breaks his will unbreakable. Shun will try and twist and advance forward and finds himself quickly turned into firewood. Hung hit by the Electro Harpoon, shocked out a little bit, of course, because he had his ult already popped. So a lot squishier now, but last inhibitor's down, and JDG, Nexus turrets between you and a game 1 loss.
Paze has his ult back up. That's all you're going on. Scout gets the combo.
Tries to find the out, but it's too little. It's too late. They don't get the kill. They lose the Rakan, and Kanavi keeps walking forwards. Paze goes down as he gets ricocheted through the skull. Top Esports end game 1 on top.
They'll wait for a wave to be their red carpet welcome to the Nexus in Beijing. JDG in their old rivalry against Top Esports fall at the first game. Top Esports take game 1.
And the Nexus is crushed, and Top Esports take the early lead and run over Jing Dong Gaming.
There is something special about this Trundle for Kanavi. I think we've reached that point now, folks. We've seen enough. Ban Trundle against Kanavi. I think before, people used to think, all right, it's something you just don't pick a tank into. They'll pick it after. No, that's not the case anymore. What we've seen from LPL teams is pick the Ornn and the Trundle together, so the Trundle can make sure that your tank is safe, and then still you get that early matchup, and they do really, really well with it. Kanavi's Trundle, I think it's the best in the league. I think shown that by now. It's up there with the likes of Monkey, who I think was pulling out a great game on that too. Tarzan also on the list, but Kanavi, once again, showcasing why we respect him so much here in the LPL.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way around it. It has been pretty damn disturbing, I think is the way to put it. There's the MVP working towards him. I can see some for 369 too.
Oh, he was
I think
fantastic
had a
too.
great one. In fact, I think like in general it was a good game. I think arguably the quietest part of the team was the bot lane, and they did their jobs just fine, right?
And that's the thing. They did their job. I don't think there's anyone on top esports which had a bad game of this. I think the macro was good. I think that they did very well at moving around the map to allow 369 and Kanavi to get these extended runs down side lanes.
Yeah.
If Trundle is able to run at you from tier 1 to tier 2 and actually get significant kill threat, it's because they've moved on the map better than you, and you are not there to respond. Typically, that's how it happens, and I think that showcases how well top esports played the map.
Imagine though, Al, if Scout hadn't been 0-5 and was finding those ults at 15 minutes, not 30.
Yeah, I think this was obviously the game got blown out through mid jungle. I think it's a bit of both. I think obviously Kanavi.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna criticize Shun as much because I think part of it's the matchup, and I think actually how much can you do as the Maokai? I would criticize the drafter picking Maokai into the Trundle. You can't play that matchup. Kanavi played it well. I think Scout's more on play. I think Diona is playable in this competition. I guess it's a little bit hard playing into some of these things as team fights. You shouldn't be dying in early game, in laning phase, and then from ganks, and then also from side lane as well. That's the bit where I think that it's on Scout, sadly, really.
Yep, I think that's exactly fair. And part of that as well is like, look, Scout has these tendencies. We know he likes to play side lane. Top esports just saw them and said, yeah, well, we can pick that apart. There are flaws to the way you're playing the game right now, and it is exploitable. And, you know, yes, you can serve up the opportunity, but I think there's credit due to Top esports as well about how ruthlessly they punished for it. And I think JDG, they go to an old school combo, and it doesn't look all that threatening this time around. And Top esports humbled in spring. I think there's not really too much other way to put it. They were beaten in playoffs in ignominious fashion. We saw the cracks in the regular season, and it fractured fully in playoffs. They didn't get to go internationally. They had a disappointing, humiliating, bluntly, first stand where they turned up and played bad League of Legends. I don't think there's much other way around it. See how they can play this one out. See how they can do here, back in summer, trying to revamp and look dangerous again. This is a good game for them, good damage across the board. It was a good team performance, looking to be one of our front runners for a world's birth if they can get there. The likes of anyone's legend up there, of course, though they've just lost a couple games. What's BLG looking like, Shiaow? You can't forget our winter champions in Top esports either.
Okay, I'm going to put on some ads. We'll play some stuff during the breaks, and we'll chill out. So join us for the next game of the series. Could, of course, be our last game as well.
Yeah, could be.
Play some horse game. And,
subscribe to the channels,
and
follow the
subscribe
channels.
to the channels as well. You know us, folks. My name's Nymaera Initialise. We're currently streaming on multiple different streaming platforms. If you have time to drop a like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment on Reddit, post a clip on Twitter, stuff like that. It does make a lot of difference. It's hard time to be in esports right now. So it really helps if you do have anything to give us like that, of course. Being here also means a lot of difference too. Let's go play some horse game, and we just won another G1, which is super good actually. So we've just won 2 G1s in a row. That gets our fans up really, really high, which is nice. I don't think Top esports should be allowed both Sivir and Azir in the same game. I think Top esports are the team you shouldn't do that against. Yeah. I think that's a team which that's the team you shouldn't do it against.
Especially because I think they still managed to get value out of the lane shove of those champions, right? It's like, okay, the Azir and Sivir have got me lane prio for a Trundle to go cause chaos. Like, you then aren't reliant on the early strength of those champions so much as the early pressure of those champions.
We failed a 3% roll.
Oh.
And we failed a 4% and a 3% roll. Are you kidding me?
That's disaster.
Quite annoyed at that, Fox.
I would be too, Al.
I'm quite annoyed at that, actually. Okay. Nice station. What's this event do? I fucking hell, man. I can't believe we failed. It's ridiculous, man. It's not okay. It's just not okay. And we're not gonna get any skills. I don't think do we need any skills? Maybe we do. We got home stretch haste, maybe. Okay, whatever. Oh, I can't believe we failed those. We won the hard rolls as well, you know. It's an OP. Oh, this is super fun. We didn't need to roll for that then. It's literally an OP. That's like OP is like one of the lower tier races. I can't believe that. That's actually really annoyed me. We'll go for lates because there's more people in pace and we don't want to get stuck in the traffic. Our power is really good too, actually. So annoying.
Kuma and Carrier brought it back out. We saw a few very good shows from the likes of 1XN here in the LPL. Fresh angle with it. We got a fair amount of lockdown. Could probably be okay with the Thresh. A few different angles. Enchanters are there. Could still look towards and engage support. You've got enough disruption and frontline, I think, to give some space for the Aphelios to stand behind. Nautilus, very nicely all in. Takes away from the Kai'Sa as well, who does love to be paired with that Nautilus. All the CC he brings, all the pick he brings, you can follow up super well. Might end up being a Rel angle on the other side. So Nautilus v Rel. The Aphelios hyper carry angle for Pays. See whether this one works out. JDG, lots of early skirmishing with the Talir and the Jarvan setup there. Nautilus can work along with it, all setting up for that Aphelios hyper carry. On the other side for top esports, a little bit wider damage spread. The Gnar can be a carry. We've seen Shinzao's be scary and extend fights to carry. Victor, Kai'Sa, all in similar space than the Aphelios. If he ends up with the wrong weapon combos here, could be a threat of things like the gravity field or the Kai'Sa out spacing him. And get a little tricky. Need to see, I think, this Talir and this Jarvan find really good angles here. Because if they can't, it was a while, it was like, okay, we've jumped on top of the Victor who just survived with the Rod of Ages and the Zhonya's and the Gravity Field and the Chaos Storm. And then you've got a Shinzao ult and the Kai'Sa's flying around. And your Aphelios struggling to find a good angle to get all that DPS down where it's meaningful. Not into a Crescent Guard. The rest of it could end up being a little bit challenging if they don't get that Aphelios to a very scary position, or they don't get some value out of that mid jungle. Curious to see what Alex thinks about that when they return. Little shout out again before we head into game. Reminder to come and follow our various socials. I'm an Initialise Cast, that's Nymaera. Make sure you're liking and subscribing on all the various channels. Consider donating to the Ko-fi and saying hello to us all and giving us a bit of love where and when you can. It does help us a massive, massive deal. But we will go back towards No Camp, check where we're at in terms of the volumes, and get ourselves ready for this second game of this tournament. Good even spread of shouts there. We'll be in JDG's home arena. I believe that'll be in Beijing, if I remember correctly. They are the Beijing-based squad. Na'Vi gonna be alright there. Tagged briefly by the threaded volley. Scouted out that bush there with the flag. Ward goes down on the Raptors. Top esports with the mid-game statistical spike. I can sort of see it. A lot of value off the shoving lanes of that Gnar in particular into the Sante, but later on Aphelios value does become increasingly scary and global from Talir. Never something to be sniffed at for sure. They do start falling prey to the Jarvan Talir. Nautilus setup for this Aphelios could get a bit dire. We have seen Kai'Sas later on overplay their hands once or twice, but they're not ahead. The Uzi skin here, of course. Absolute legend in the LPL. And wider world as well, but I love the AD carries. Are massively inspired by him. Captain Rain coming on down. So what build we get on Jacula? May well be, I suspect, that Kraken Slayer build we've seen a lot of late. Wild arrows out there as well. Hung mounts it up. Looking to get an angle, hits the level 2 first. And again, part of the reason we've seen a lot less Aphelios is your level 1 just sucks. You get the ability to change weapons. Ooh, very exciting. It's not. It's a bit miserable. Scout and Cream trading out. A nice Siphon Power angle there. Unraveled Earth comes across. A little bit of a slow. Makes that a bit more of an even trade. Times out there. Speed boost there from the Q. Hextech Ray coming across regardless. Can be a little annoying for Scout, actually, because you can trade through the wave a bit more freely. Kanavi, with a potential early gank here. Scout may be forced to flash. Got punished early on last game with some of this play. Getting a bit of the rock surfing angles. Forced to flash. Kanavi going to face check Shun, but he's got a red buff. I don't think Shun enjoys this. Has to flash away. Sorry, not flash away. Flag drag away. might end up sacking a bit more because Hung and Jackie are here, and Scout has to go back to base. This gets very interesting. Gets on top of Shun. How long has he got on Flag and Drag? Gets out to safety, but loses 80% of his HP bar as Scout's forced to TP towards his tier 2. Fight over this red buff now. Huh. What happened bot lane? Looks like this will be how things happen. Ah, Shadowing Strike Flash. Got a lot of damage down to the back line. Got a lot of priority. Navi jumping onto Scout. Reminder doesn't have that flash. Shadowing Strike just wide, but a fall back with that 3 Talon Strike. Crash down. Scout is dead. Top Esports get the kill on the mid lane as Shun at half HP. Winks coming on over. Trying to get behind, I think, Hung for a bit more value with the Aphelios shove. Be a little bit tricky. Cream now coming on over, and that wave is crashing mid. Oh, Scout. What a miserable start to your game. TP in having been chunked out to try and save your jungler. Lose the wave mid lane. Still get killed. That is not a fun place to be. Hung might be eating a bit more damage there as the onslaught comes on through. Binding Eclipse after into the moonshot. Yeah, this one's rough. Early ruby crystal there from Hung. Reset now coming on through, and Shun will be able to return the favor here a little bit. Get a hold of this blue buff. Maybe the Gromp after as well. Well, no, I don't think Navi got to stick around for the red buff proper. There's been a couple camps back. That's not actually as bad as it could have been there. The issue really is in this mid lane, where Scout was forced to drop quite a lot there. You can see there's a big wave there to pick up. Oh, no, Shun. Shun, that's a really rough place to respawn. I wonder whether afterwards, because of that delayed back, yeah, you can see Kanavi straight into the enemy jungle, straight onto the Gromp. And pings from Shun to say, I'm going to go towards these wolves. Full camps for Kanavi to pick up on this reset here as well in the respawned camps of his top side. Weird old state of affairs. Not getting a bit of shove. Cream way ahead of wave or so. Bot side, even enough for now. Actually, Jackie ended up dropping a little bit of farm because of going to help initially, then coming back. And Hayes getting a lot of value with the Dusk Wave and the Onslaught to get that wave shoved in. The Kai'Sa, see how much they pick up of this wave. It might be down a little bit more CS than I think they would like. Cream, down a lot of mana here, actually. Need to look for a reset. Wrap around gank angle, actually, onto Cream. Might be a thing, but no, I just need to check my minimap a bit better. But there it is. Shun finds the angle. Cream still got flash. Maybe forced to burn it here. Seismic shove comes on down, and Cream decides, look, I'm holding on to the flash. That's rough, and that evens things up in mid lane nicely for Scout. Really good journey behind the vision there. I think he must have flag and dragged over to get past it. Great observer toggle there, because Cream thought with that scuttle crab vision, with that ward he had in the mid lane bush, would be safe, and just wasn't. Just wasn't. So, 369. Looking for a bit of an angle forwards. Xiaow coming to potentially be in a spot of bother here as the full tilt. Shattering Strike, crash down, well buffered with the fallout now coming on through as well as Hung is just dead. JDG good punish. Now Jackie's in danger. Xiaow gonna have the Q3, force the flash out of Jackie Love. Well played by JDG. Gold lead beginning to go their way. Shun much better this game on the job, and after a really dicey early start. Jackie Love walking back towards the scene of the crime. They overplayed that onto the Cassante with the level 6 available. Just a little bit farther, it has to be said, from Hung. Now things get a bit more dicey. 369 gets hit by the hook. Does Pace want to turn this one around? He doesn't quite have the level 6, but can do quite a lot of work here. Turning around now by 369, building towards the Rage Bar. Odd start to this game. Now, are we going to head towards this dragon? Jackie Love coming on over. I think this will be secure. Grubs up in 20 seconds, but the timer here, I think, for Top Esports to start this one up. Now, Phil comes on down. Scout going to eat the Hextech Storm. Ow, that one sucks. Welcome back. Let me give you the quick recap. Effectively, Top Esports tried to punish Shun by getting big chunks on mid lane early and going for an invade. Looked alright, and then things got a bit dicey as Shun found a good couple counter ganks. Now Hung trying to get on forwards, but Wink with a really good interrupt there on that crash down. Grubs now a potential start there for top esports, who just picked up Dragon as well.
Yeah, flash out from Shun means he doesn't have flash cataclysm angle, which is very powerful onto Victor at this point in the game before he gets too tanky. Cream coming over now. What's the angle from the other side? Weaver's Wall, good angle here for scouts.
Yeah, going to try and find his angle on in. The Weaver's Wall is there. Over the Unraveled Earth goes Kanavi. Crescent Guard available, buys some time, but Pace about to get inside the range. Good flash out from Kanavi, keeps him safe for a second. Moonlight Vigil doesn't land on Kanavi. Wink looking for an angle. Gets audacious charge. Stayed him away the flash on him from Shiaow. Wonderful pickup from the Cassante.
JDG have the better terrain, and they create some of their own as well as Scout throws the Weaver's Wall into the play. It's been one of his more comfortable champions this split, which is a good look for him given how poor his first game was on the Yone. And top esports losing the early game fights this time around.
And not to put too fine a point, I thought Scout was going to be done this game. Forced her back really early, teleported towards the bot tier 2 to defend the invade, ended up dropping away, died for first blood, having TP'd in, it was over. And then actually a really good count from Shun, got some value in, and Weaver's Wall here. Good plays from JDG to recover and find some good value. Unfortunate hook from Wink at the start, mate.
Late Crescent Guard from Kanavi as well. He dashes through the minefield, he just flashed over it. Not very mechanical play from him. He was a little bit afraid, I think, of him flashing early and then getting Cataclysm and not having a way out. Still, I don't think it was the best choice for him at that moment. So Kanavi, our MVP of Game 1, I think making a bit of a poor decision at that moment. Very interested to see how Pays on this Aphelios gains value later. Aphelios Nautilus is a very strong combination, by the way. What your idea is, you sit on these guns right here, green-purple, and you try and fire off the long-range Calibrum Q to then get the proc of the Graviton, which allows you to root them. Then they are rooted with a Nautilus in range. You used to do the same with Blitzcrank as well.
Yeah, I can see it.
Aphelios with hook champions has always been effective because you get around to your utility guns, you can somehow get that root onto them with your Graviton and then give a free hook. So that can be very powerful if top people's trying to stay in kind of like their mid-range. However, if you're angling for that too aggressively in this kind of composition, you can get jumped on by the Rel, and then the Kai'Sa flies in and you find it quite hard to play out the fight. So that's top esports angle. I do think JDG have the better composition. We've seen Jarvan be forced quite a lot by LPL teams recently, but I think that this game is a good one. There are valuable points where the Jarvan can be useful. You want follow-up with him, and in fairness, actually Aphelios can be. If you trap multiple people inside the Cataclysm for an Infernum ultimate, yeah, that is a huge team fight. JDG, you get collapsed on in the mid lane, but everything just misses.
From everyone at that point, I understand the look in there. Beat it all that much. Sets of kills have gone towards JDG, so they've got that feat of martial mastery. Just need a turret or a couple more objectives to get the full feats of strength. Early slight gold lead to JDG. Slash angle from Hung, won't take it too much further forward. Shun, always been a big Jarvan enjoyer, has to be said. One of his background picks. The first pick to Lear from Scout. Denied the Shinzao pickup as a result to Kanavi, but now actually potential angle on in. They've got the ghost down and Hung is just dead. Great invade from JDG.
JDG getting some great plays now into the enemy half of the map. Shun's Jarvan is one of his better champions over history, actually. It's one of the ones I remember from him back on BLG in 23, and even before that on IG in 22. He had some good moments on this. Cream gonna stop Wink's recall there. I think one of the big X factors for top esports in this game will be that Victor. We've seen Victors do pretty horrid things where you can stand and fight later on. If top esports can effectively peel for him, perhaps Cream can do the work which the rest of the team is currently struggling to do. He's getting farm on sidelines. He is ahead of Scout, as you noted before. By the way, Jackal using Uzi's skin, not his own.
Yeah.
He's using the Hall of Legends skin.
That's very true, actually. I saw Uzi's skin, but I forgot, of course, it's the IG Kai'Sa is often a regular for our LPL, and just every AD carry out there.
It's Jackal choosing not to use his own skin, instead for paying homage to Uzi, the mad dog himself. What a player he was, that champion. It's, yeah, man, Uzi and Jackal, they were very cool playing against each other at the same time too, of course. Because then, at that point, remember, these two, Jackal and Uzi, were part of that historic rivalry of IG RNG back in 2018, 2019, where it felt like one of those two surely would come away with the world's title. And of course, it ended up being Jackal in 2018 and not Uzi on RNG. Dragon now spawning 10 seconds, ticking down slightly shorter. Cream, I think top esports with the first Dragon want to let this go. They want to get good farm for Victor in a side lane and get the Victor to a point where he can be the center of their death ball a little later on. It's not really a death ball, but center of their team composition, you know what I mean?
I completely do. So, Top Esports now in a pretty fabulously difficult spot in some ways, right? You've got down 1,000 gold. You perhaps want to be getting things going a little earlier on. You're getting punished right now as Jackie Love does manage to escape. Got a barrier to work with and the ult. But with the Severum Crescendum on pace, a little bit trying. I think they need to give this dragon up now.
I think they should have done it in the first place. Losing that HP is one thing. I think you are always losing the dragon. But for me, I think that they should have prioritized getting Victor farm. Getting Victor ahead of the game. Getting him some plates. Getting him some chunk on side lane. That matters more in this game, in my eye, to Top Esports. Cream will collect potentially a bot wave, but now he's on weak side. He needs to be careful. Xiaow could potentially walk around he's going to walk around the back and potentially look for a punt back combo with the all out. Cream, you shouldn't be here.
Doing a decent job holding the wave outside a turret. Does it matter?
It doesn't matter at all.
He is going to potentially flash, does so, buys a bit of time. Xiaow now in danger, gets the footwork out to safety and uses the Pathmaker and just can't do enough work.
It doesn't matter. Cream should have stayed top lane. Top Esports should have given up the dragon much more easily. Cream dies and the person who should be getting the farm is instead taken down. JDG, credit for them, took the chunk where it's given and quickly punished.
They do. Now Pays though in danger, flashes out. Can they look for the full turret in mid lane? I don't think they got quite the damage all the wave. Well, they're going to stick around anyway.
You know what? If Jack will have a Q upgrade, I reckon he could kill that. They take the mid lane turret instead. That's a better prize. They take first turret of the game. So Top Esports will get that for defeat to strength marker. Next objective, JDG will win that for them. It would have to be 2 back-to-back for Top Esports. Opening up the mid lane outer turret, very important. One of the weaknesses of Aphelios is he is really bad at just being stuck alone in mid lane. He needs people with him at all times. That's why he was always playing with stuff like the Thrash, which should reposition him. He's very vulnerable on mid wave. Now with no mid lane turret, he'll be even more so.
Look, don't get me wrong. Cream dying of that turret kind of sucks. Scout actually needs to be really wary. He can't get the turret, and he's down on 10% HP. Can Cream find an angle? He's got a grounded field. Oh my god, he has to flash and ult away.
Cream, I think he could have held on to the death ray. They're just out of range. Scout pulls the ult, and Cream can't quite get himself the kill, but it was very close. Not getting the tower either keeps Scout behind.
And not to put too fine a point on it, look, Cream died under that turret, but Top Esports, a kill for first turret mid and holding on to that tier 1 bot. In the grand scheme of things, yeah, it might have been a bit janky from Cream, but they do at least manage to sort of muddle their way through to at least getting something back there. Are going to lose this Herald, though. Need to feed to strength. Are going JDG's way.
Cream gets some side lane time, which we've been asking for the last few minutes. Herald will likely buy JDG the mid lane outer turret at some point. Scout clearing away those crows, trying to pick up the farm. She can't get from that tower. And instead, Hung takes the big crow there.
Cream, though, I think he's going to get this tier 1 bot as well. That's not awful from Top Esports. Down 1,000 gold or so. This extra turret will help keep things in range. And again, if you're running a Kai'Sa, a Victor, even the Gnar to an extent, you do want a little bit of time here. Yes, the Aphelios on the other side, of course, you want to feed them as quick as possible. JDG do get that top side turret. The grand scheme of things here, it's a 2-to-1 turret lead right now for Top Esports.
Now I'll be walking into bot side on the map. They just pushed out that bot lane outer turret. This is what you're meant to do when you take mid lane and 1 side lane turret. You move into the quadrant, which is not protected by turrets anymore. Try and put down some vision and know that you have a better angle of attack. Maybe going a bit too forwards here. This is a great spot for the Victor.
Oh, wonderful stuff. Now Pace in danger. He doesn't have the flash from the mid lane blaze, so the killer instinct comes on through. Aphelios is dead.
That is a huge mistake for JDG. Again, this is textbook stuff from Top Esports. Take 2 turrets which are adjacent to each other. You move into that quadrant at the jungle and you try and take control. They do that and JDG disrespect them because they don't have the vision control and they're not tanky enough. Giving the goal over to Top Esports here is a big problem. Jacklip doesn't have ult or flash now, but he's overstayed.
Now in danger, overcomes the rest of Top Esports. He just dashes away. Could Xiaow find an angle? No, he can't. Now they're turning it onto the potential Cassandra. Goes all out on top of Kanavi inside the Cataclysm, but has got his own Crescent Guard to buy time. JDG looking for more. Shun just about alive, but 369's running at him. Gets that kill. Back like
Kanavi lives!
And Kanavi is alive. The one-man army will not be defeated by the multitudes of JDG.
JDG have found their death in this bot side jungle. Top Esports take mid lane and bot lane outer turrets and make the other half of their map just their own. huge plays from top esports in a game which I thought was very quickly going JDG's way has massively swung back the other way. 1,000 gold lead for the Kai'Sa. That is hellish for PES now. The Aphelios is not really in a meta anymore where he can stand and fight and regen through people diving on him when he was at his most powerful. There is no broken death stance. There is no broken shield bow which he can play around. He needs to be given a lot of peel, and I don't think JDG will be able to provide that for him. Right there, couldn't do this either. PES should never be in that position, especially as a flashless Aphelios, and is punished well.
Good work there, and we come back, and JackeyLove just skates wide of the Flag and Dragon, the seismic shove. We thought he was done for when that TP behind came, but JDG can't quite get him, and top esports defend well.
With no flash, no ult, JackeyLove should not have been able to get out there. Does anyway, and Kanavi gets a ton of healing from passive, from, I believe, a triumph from 369, killing someone else on the other side of the play there too, as there was a nice JackeyLove Ezreal sign there in the crowd there too.
Got banned away from him in this game.
Yeah, and well, he's picking up the Kai'Sa, which he is oh so famous for as well. We've got a lot of famous Kai'Sa players here in the LPL, but he's of course one of our best, and paying homage to one of our other ones as well, Uzi's skin, the Hall of Legends Kai'Sa skin, the expensive one, the fancy one. Dragon has spawned. Top esports, again, doing what you should do. This is textbook macro. Just pushing into the side of the jungle with no turrets to protect it at the spawn of the dragon really helps their dragon setup. However, the counterweight of the Herald for JDG should give them a fighting chance to approach the objective.
Textbook counterpunch. There we go. That's what we need to see from JDG, having a bit of a rough moment. Wasting time just went to Mega. I don't know how much you want to be inside a Cataclysm there, actually, with the Mega not available.
Oh,
he just dropped them all into the wall. Oh, good God, JDG, that was poor.
JDG, go on the Gnar and get Mega. 369 may well die at the end of the play, but he doesn't even do that!
He hops on out!
999, call an ambulance, but not for him!
He's dead as well. Another kill. It's even the better kill feed. Jackie's looking for the triple.
He gets himself the Uzi flash up on the kills at the top of the screen. Yeah, you get a special little banner when you kill with that one. 999 high rolling, 369's Gnar carrying that fight.
Like, they see the Mega Gnar, they Cataclysm him, and walk next to the red buff wall.
That, yeah, Sam, you, yeah, no, you said it during the play, Sam. It was horrid from JDG.
What is this?
This is not the target. This is just freshly gone into Mega. PES has no I
get it. Top esports are collapsing, but they just slam you into a wall. Jackie gets over the wall into the red buff pit.
I don't get it.
Murder's Shun, and all the while Shiaow goes all out. Can't kill 369. What HP is he on? And 49.
And he gets out with enough HP to make it work. That's what, even if he died, it still would have been a fantastic fight. It would have still been a 3-1. The fact that he lives is that's just comedy, honestly, at that point. JDG, they're just misjudging these fights and they're floundering. This is one of the historically most dominant teams in LPL history, the organization. And while they've changed members, they've subbed people in and out, and lost Ruler, lost Knight, lost Kanavi, lost 369. A couple of years ago, JDG were arguably one of the greatest teams in the history of League of Legends. Last year, Kanavi was still on the team and they were inches short of making it international. At both, at multiple international events. Inches short. And now they're at a point where they've made 2 changes between last split and this one, and I don't think it's made the difference. Wink coming in over Missing. I think Missing was struggling. I don't think Missing has been the solution. I don't think Wink has been the solution. I don't think that he was done providing markedly anything else than Missing wasn't, sadly. And then Shiaow, I think he's been fine, but again, I don't think he's doing that much, which Arla wasn't. Arla was providing more lane pressure, arguably, as well. JDG, they brought in a coaching change. Clearlove is now on their coaching roster. They've gone through multiple coaches this year. I mean, over the last year, I reckon they've been through 5 coaches. 5 coaches in about a year and a half. And they still haven't found their solution.
And I hate to say it, EDG lose Clearlove, and suddenly they look a lot better, though I think that's probably more to do with Palkia, but there's been some, I don't know, discussions around coaching in the LPL in general. It feels like a lot of coaches move around, and there's been issues with macro play and decision making and drafting and lots of things. And yes, I get the players can be quite strident. Yes, I get that the LPL is sometimes a region that is about kind of taking the hands checks, right? There's the difference even in linguistics, in the way that LPL players talk about League of Legends that we don't have in Western calls, where you're saying, actually,
the idioms are different, the shorthand is different, the slang is different. It does make a difference because it changes your mindset about the game.
It's like games like fights that are playable, right? Basically, the discussion about that pretty crazy, but that's not happening, and JDG need this fight to be playable.
So Intercon has been a thing before, but this is such a quick take with the Kai'Sa stacking up on it.
Cream gonna try and run away. Gets hit by the depth charge, but the Atakana is down. 369 coming in with the mega angle. What's 369 coming on in? Can get on to Pace, who has to flash it out. So does the Scout. Talia is just not got anywhere to go. Neither does Aphelios. I fumble my words, but JDG, well, they're just fumbling the damn fight.
They missed the hook onto the Victor at the start of the fight, and it falls apart quickly after that. Victor puts down a great leading Chaos Storm to chunk out JDG before they look for the engage. I think that was very intelligent by Cream. Still had the flash, has the double Battle Mage items of the Royal Leandri, so he's even harder to burst out too. Gets a 10-stack Magi with the move speed and the AP. Why the hell not? Top Esports, they fell behind in the early game, but they've managed to come back through. Again, textbook macro and good team fights time after time. And JDG, they have panicked. They've floundered. And I hate seeing this version of JDG. I miss the confident, collected top team of JDG, but this is simply not it.
Oh.
2 people stun themselves on the gravity field. Doesn't matter that much. This does, though. Dropping the Chaos Storm onto Paze and onto Wing removes a good half of the HP of the Aphelios, and he can't stand and fight anymore. This is not the mega tanky stand and fight Aphelios as he was in the past. Flashes out, but just can't do the standard fight anymore. Kaiser gets to jump in the middle of 4 people, get a couple of vault attacks. The Aphelios is down. JDG are playing these fights very poorly.
Again, Aphelios on the front foot in this game would have been a very different beast because you've got Cataclysms and Unravel Earths and Cassante and Nautilus buying so much space via CC and zone control to keep the Aphelios alive. Aphelios on the back foot is a very different beast this game when you've got Kaiser jumping for your head, and the Xin Zhao jumping at you, and the Kaiser jumping at you, and the bloody Meganars, all while having to navigate the likes of the gravity fields and the arcane storm. It's a Medjais for Cream.
I mentioned
third.
that, yeah. The move speed, the AP. I actually think the move speed is super broken here because JDG kind of need to walk at the Victor. Getting the permanent 10% move speed up on the 10 stack plus Medjais makes it harder to walk at that. It's one of the reasons I think it's such an underrated item if you can keep those stacks safe. Sometimes it's a bit more risky on immobile champions, but Victor, flash for flash in mid lane as Wink tried to land the hook, couldn't quite do so, but now flashless Nautilus, that's another bit of target access, which is now down. Top Esports, pushing across the map. Baron's now spawned, presumably they set up for that next too.
Understood. Towards the dragon we look. Bit of damage coming on down. Crash down. Wink is dead.
Use that flash to try and force onto Jaculov, and we're saying, look, Wink, he came in for missing. Missing was a problem on JDG, but I don't think that, well, amongst many, I don't want to single missing out too much. I think actually, well, okay, I'm not really sure this is the play either. They missed the flick back. I mean, 369 doesn't have flash going into mini, but I'm sure you can make it out of this. You know, teleport's coming in from the Victor. Scout might be in trouble now.
Yeah, he is. Scout's now in danger. Flag and drag comes on down. 369 gets to hop away.
Bloody hell, the Victor damage!
Try and get something back onto 369, who does go down, but the Arcane still stop on top of him. Cream might be in danger here, though, because Shiaow's been able to keep going. Cream's pretty damn tanky, but still has the flash. Gets away from the Q3 on Cassante.
The Aphelios Severum ultimate keeps him alive. The long-range shot gives him the healing off of it. Has to use that ultimate, and they will get themselves a kill on the side lane, but the Baron went down. Top Esports claimed that, and they still get themselves, you know, the big objective. And JDG don't end up getting the counterpunch they want. Cream gets himself 2 extra Metro stacks. He's not unhappy with that at all.
Not bad at all. Gets away with it, and they still get to go towards the inner turret. They'll lose a dragon here, so it won't be sole point for them, but I think Dragon, for so much structural advantage, feels pretty damn good. 10,000 gold they lead now for Top Esports.
JDG will stop sole point. It's an objective bounty. It's not insignificant, I suppose, but JDG's team fight does require a little bit of extra gold to function, I think. If Jarvan isn't ahead of the game, I really don't like this champion. LPL has had a bunch of fights recently as Scout Cream's really big damage here. His Victor was always his mage before he played mages, by the way. Back on OMG, when he was only like the Akali Yone Silas player, he would still occasionally play Victor, and that was his mage. This is the one which kind of was his gateway drug into the mages, really. Then came the Karma and stuff afterwards. Shit, bloody hell. Jarvan, when you're behind the game, feels awful into tankier targets. Now, if this was a burst damage Luden's Victor, I think this game would still be playable, because it's the Battle Mage Victor, and the Jarvan is so far behind. This is the kind of game I hate to see Victor in. See the Jarvan in. And we've seen it a couple of times from LPL. We saw it from Anyone's Legends versus BLG, I think in Game 3. I think we saw it from one of the Invictus Gaming against Invictus Gaming at some point too. We saw it yesterday from Anyone's Legend as well. Playing Jarvan into games like this, you can't kill him.
He just takes no damage, and Wink is going to die. Cream is potentially a bit low, but gets the arcane storm off. Gets away to safety, shoved into the wall is Shiaow. 369 claims the kill on his opposite number, and now in a 2v5, Top Esports can look to end the game. JDG roll the dice, and it comes up 1-1. Snake eyes for Jing Dong Gaming.
Not so long ago, JDG was signing autographs at internationals. Now they are just signing names into the Magi's. Cream stacks it, doesn't die. A slam into the wall. And a love letter from 369 towards his old team. Top Esports on top of the series 2-0. Simply put, demolishing JDG in Beijing.
There was a time when 369 couldn't play, nah. He damn well can now. Top Esports back to winning ways. 3-0.
Easy as you like, a 4-game day. EDG smashing our first series and Top Esports smashing our second series. The macro around the jungle invades, really, from JDG was not good enough into the mid game. As soon as Top Esports took mid lane and bot lane out of turret, we said it as it happened to K. The classic book macro is you take both, you take 2 adjacent turrets and you invade into that quadrant of the jungle. They did that time after time, and they came back into the game by playing around the quadrant, which no longer had the outer towers to give extra angles of attack from JDG 4. I think Top Esports played very confident around that. I'm glad to see them playing well. Obviously, the question about Top Esports is not about these kind of series. It's about how it comes later. And they, of course, in the last playoffs, also got knocked out by Team W3. Both of these teams were. They have a lot of wrongs to right coming into this next split. It's a good series here from Top Esports, though, to give them confidence.
Really, really does. And now we're in a position, right, where... what do you do as JDG? Because the one series win they had was decent, but this team from behind looks so lost. And we're seeing some quite poor showings from the likes of Scout in particular, who's not looking great from behind. They look a little bit lost. I think Xiaoshu's trying. I actually think he's been pretty stable. I don't think it's his fault, of course, coming in for Arla this split as a bit of a change up, but look, missing was on the bench, and I don't think the support switch has changed that much.
No, this is the thing. The changes that have come through have tried to address problems. They've not been the solution.
No.
I don't think... JDG has a whole host of things, and I think, you know, we've seen this with BLG, we've seen this across the whole LPL. I think going from last split to this split, there are at least 10 roster changes. In fact, you know, I'm just going to go through the up. Let's count out how many changes there are, and we'll try and count out the coach changes as well. Anyone's Legend changed nothing. BLG changed jungle, so that's 1. They also added someone into their coaching staff, that's 2. In Kakao. Fun plus Phoenix had IE come in, and they had Jachi come in for Assume, so that's 4 total. Invictus Gaming picked up Wei. JDG changed Xiaoshu, Wink, and Clearlove, so they're now up to 8.
Wow.
Team WE changed nothing. Top Esports, they changed supports, and then Weibo also changed that as well, so that's a 10 just from Group Ascend. Group Nirvana, and they brought in Palkia, so that's 11. LGD, they didn't actually change anything, it was just Saber changing his name. LNG, they didn't change anything either, though they added someone else to their roster who hasn't played yet. We won't count that. NIP, they changed 3 technically as
Nio.
So Nio came in, Niket came in, and Shanji was also benched. That's 14 so far. TT, they brought in Aki as their jungler, so that's 15. And Ultra Prime brought in Bayer as well. I can't remember from the new coaching changes. We've ended up with 16 changes between the last split and this one. 16 between all teams, both on the Rift and off the Rift. Try going from pace. I think I'll make it even worse. We'll try it once, but... because it hurts our stamina even more. 7th. Nah, it's not getting any better. Oh well, I think we rolled badly, sadly. Yeah, but I have decent legacies to inherit from. Not the best, but they're fine. Oh shit, no, I did the wrong thing again. Well, fare thee well, horse. Nice nature, that's the one. We just don't have the stamina. And we didn't roll Swinging Maestro. We didn't get any... I should have really trained up stamina more. Well, that's not great. And we had those... we did fail that 2% and that 3% roll, which really sucked on friendship training. So we're fine up until, like, the final spurt. Because basically what happens is, the final spurt, basically, your horse will calculate as they start the final straight, like the end of it, whether they have enough stamina to last until the end of the race, and they'll like time their speed based on it, which is also why any kind of stamina ups or recovery skills in the last bit of the race don't apply.
Like, they basically don't give you anything. We need to be top 3, so this isn't enough either. Ah, well. Okay, well, whatever. That was a campaign of all time. If you're on YouTube, we'll stop the stream now. We'll wait until Sam comes out. That was actually the best result. I mean, credit to her. It was me not getting... That was my bad for not choosing stamina ups and stuff like that, so that's my bad. Oh well, it happens.